Welcome to the Ethos podcast.
Yo, what's up? My name is Joshua. I'm on the Ethos podcast, and I'm a film director.
Awesome.
That's a cool intro.
Yeah.
Very
It is. Like
Yeah,
it's
just
smooth.
Just
Just flows in.
Is it?
Yeah.
yeah.
And you're joined by Daniel Tumelo.
Moses.
Muka. Okay, that was like an awkward
Yeah.
silence.
No.
Josh, what's up, man? How are you?
What's up? What's up? What's up, bro?
How are you living, man?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah?
good. I'm good.
What's been up?
Work, man. I've just been busy
Yeah.
shooting like crazy. Really getting into this film industry, trying to break through. Because I feel like our industry, the Zambian industry, is like still in its infancy, man. I feel like lots of filmmakers, they just, you can meet a bunch of filmmakers, Zambian filmmakers, and they'll be like, yo, I'm experienced, I've been in this industry 15 years, whatnot. Then you look at the work and it's not
Subpar.
yeah, exactly, So I feel like this industry just needs like a punch of fresh minds, people who wanna do something great, man. Yeah.
Are they like old? Like it, comparing to fresh minds, what would you mean, like age wise?
Well, okay, there is that, but I think there's also just like a general unwillingness to learn, because it's really not that hard for you to like say like, okay, I'm gonna get a really nice cinematic frame. It's not hard, especially now in 2020. Anybody can just go on YouTube and just say how can I shoot
How to do it
cinematically?
B-roll.
Yeah, how to
Yeah.
do it cinematically, and it's gonna be there. And all you have to do, you don't have to like try and be original and do your own thing. Just copy, man. You just copy what they do, and you get something really good. But I feel the industry kind of lacks that.
How long has the industry been around?
It hasn't been around for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Cause I feel like the Zambian industry really started when Cabanana. You remember Cabanana?
Yeah.
Yeah, when Cabanana was launched. So that's when like it really got people to say, oh no, I can do filmmaking, I can get into film, I can do something. Because Cabanana was like a big hit. It was like a really big hit even in other countries. I know it was really big in Zimbabwe too.
Yeah.
So like everybody in Zimbabwe knows about it. So I think from that point, that's when things started moving. And like it's only now when like networks and channels like Mnet and like Zambezi Magic
Yeah.
are really getting into it. This is when it's really picking up.
Yeah.
But for quite some time it was slow. And from what I've heard, because I'm new in the industry, so from what I've heard, like there was no money, man. Like people, it was just like people used to do it for the love. There wasn't any really the biggest, and this is the biggest network or channel or whatever here in Zambia with the most viewers or subscribers or whatever.
Yeah.
But you find like ratings. Okay, this is all what I've heard from other people. You find like ratings around news hour are like really, really, really high. Then as soon as news is finished, it just drops,
It just
drops,
drops, yeah.
drops. And because I feel like people we don't recognize the power of having really good content. Zambians can actually be watching if
Yeah.
there was good stuff
Good
there.
content, yeah.
If there was good stuff there, everybody would be watching. If there was like really nice high end stuff, and I don't know if I should say this, but I don't know. Okay, from what I've heard is
Yeah.
that if you consider networks, it doesn't really believe in paying for content. You know,
Why?
I don't know.
Okay, but looking at training institutions like Taveta and Zamcom, Evelyn Horn as well, like they've pretty much existed
Yeah.
as long as stations like this have existed
Yeah.
as well. So, if say for example someone trains at one of these centers and then decides to like branch out and maybe work at ZMBC, what's the standard there? Like what are they training for?
Yeah.
If this is when
I
the
feel-
industry is picking up,
Because look, now okay, let's say if you consider an institute like Zamcom, from okay, because right now I'm being mentored. I won't like mention his name, but I mean being mentored by
mentor
by like a veteran in this industry who's been in this industry from day. I mean, he's been shooting and directing like for over 40 years.
Yeah.
And from what I'm learning from him is that even people who graduate from institutions like Zamcom, for example, and probably others, they're still not there. You know.
Yeah.
Even when you bring like a person who says, "Oh, no, I graduated, I started filming at Zamcom," and you put them onto a set, they still need to do a lot of learning.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I feel like MultiChoice, for example, they started out the MultiChoice Talent Factory, which I feel is like really, really good because the kind of learning you get from there is really high end because they bring in they've invested quite a lot of money and they bring in like experts from Africa, like the best of the best in Africa, to come and teach you. And they tell you like the reality of the situation and don't think that just because you went to Talent Factory immediately after you're gonna be this big blockbuster Hollywood.
I was gonna like in tandem with that, I was gonna ask: is it like a craft that you sort of have to like hone? Is it something that you get better at?
It is. It definitely is.
gradually?
Because first of all, I feel like it doesn't matter what school you go to.
Yeah.
Learning is like a
Continual process.
yes, it's that, and it's also a personal decision. You have to choose. You have to decide. It's a discipline, man.
Yeah.
You have to decide to learn something and be good at it. Like for example, I did recording engineering. I studied recording engineering.
We're gonna jump on that actually.
Okay, I started recording engineering, and honestly, that course it never gave me all the knowledge, right? What it did was it offered like a really rock solid foundation, like to understand the basics. Because with any skill, it always goes back to the basics, you know. So when I studied that, like when I finished that course, it wasn't like, oh no, I now understand sound, I'm now deep and whatnot. I realized like by the time I finished that, I realized how much I really don't know.
Yeah.
And there's like been tons and tons and tons of personal studying that I've done. So I believe like learning, it doesn't matter because for example, there's like that really great school. I was interested in going to it, but hey, wow, the price is just crazy. Full Sail University.
What is it?
I think it's in America.
There's a branch in Malaysia. Though,
Is it?
right? Yeah, I think so.
I think the main one though is yeah.
Based in America.
And Cause they have this YouTube channel and I still follow the YouTube channel and watch everything. I was like, yo, this school is crazy because like there's seminars, right? And obviously because I was interested in sound, so I was only watching like the audio engineering seminars and whatnot. The people who they bring in for seminars, man, are like people like Bruce Sweden, who's like who was Michael Jackson's sound engineer. I mean, he recorded like 80% of Michael Jackson's records, man. Yeah. And he's this really old guy in a wheelchair. And, you know, I was amazed, like, whoa, this school is crazy.
Yeah.
I went through the things and like their what do you call this?
Curriculum.
Their attachments, right? What the students do in film school is they go and they're the ones who shoot for what's this, WWE. I was like, yo,
The students.
yeah, they shoot WWE.
I think you mentioned that,
the NXT,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not like the main one,
Oh,
like
they- like
SmackDown, but the
this-
NXT,
yeah.
which is still big.
Yeah,
It's still
it
big.
is.
Yeah, I was like, yo, this school is crazy. I was really just like stuck in that school like for months, man. If you go like to, because they also offer courses in programming, what's this, like video games, man. You find like, because they always praise the alumni and the graduates, and go like, no, our graduates now, these are the games they've worked on, and they're like listing best of the best, man.
Yeah.
Like Call of Duty,
Yeah.
Far Cry.
Yeah.
They listen like these are our graduates.
High standards.
Yeah, high standards.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, this is crazy. But at the end of the day, I still went on YouTube and I found this guy who's from Full Sail. And he's pretty much, he hasn't achieved anything, and he was talking trash about Full Sail. Like, don't expect to go there, and he was talking about the film school, and he was like, this is what he said. He was like, in the film school, they always give the major roles like directing, screenwriting, the DOP. They always give those big roles to the people who talk a lot. There's nothing for the timid guys like us. And I was like, dude, that's your problem.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah.
He even admits to it.
Yeah, I was like, that's your problem.
That's not
right there. Nobody's gonna come and ask you and go like, yo, do you feel like directing? Yeah. Nobody's gonna do that.
Where you're seeing opportunities in your face.
Exactly.
Every
Grab by
graduation.
Exactly.
But okay, with regards to that, do you feel like there's like a Midas touch thing as far as like the craft of filmmaking is concerned? Like, do you feel like someone
Has to be born with the juice.
Yeah, like could someone just be born with that natural talent, or is it always a learning curve?
I believe so. Look, this thing.
Which one?
It's natural.
It's natural.
It's natural.
Okay.
It's different. Because look,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's an art, and art always boils down to talent. So it's either you have it or you don't.
I always ask that question, but you just answered it. I was going to ask if you feel like filmmaking is an art.
It
an art
is
form of
straight up.
sorts.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's a nice blend of art and science,
Mm.
but it's either you're born with it or you're not, man. And like this, because I came, like for example, I came to the talent factory as a sound guy, because
Yeah.
that's what I studied.
Yeah.
But at the end of the program, I really like evolved into being a director, and I feel that comes with it being natural to you, and because number one, being like a director, it's not, because it's a big role.
Yeah.
And people always think, oh, if you're a director, you're a boss. You're not a boss. You're a leader. There's a big difference between a boss and a leader. And it takes like a level of emotional intelligence. You have to really consider everybody's feelings on the crew. Like for me, I made like a decision, like, okay, because if you're a director, you're hired to, basically be a daydreamer, You're hired because of your taste and your imagination and whatnot, So, you hold, you're the principal creative on set, meaning you hold the vision of the film or the project or whatever. That's cool, and it's cool, but people mistake that for like, for being the boss and whatnot, which is very wrong, and it always reflects on the production. Because if you go, I made the decision, let me go, I digress.
Yeah.
I made the decision that, look, you're the visionary, you're the creative and whatnot, but if you have a vision, let's say you want to shoot this scene, and you imagine it like, okay, I'm going to shoot this way and this way and this way. If somebody else on set, because you have to understand that everybody on set is a creative.
Yeah.
So when they read the script, they all envision it differently. So if somebody on set comes, obviously they follow the right protocol. and someone comes and tells me, look, what if we shoot this scene like this and like this and like this? If their point doesn't like what's the word?
Resonate.
No, not resonate. If their point doesn't shift away from what we're trying to achieve, if it's still
The same.
at the end of the day, we still get the same result,
Yeah.
right? I would rather take someone else's vision over mine, because that when you do that, that person feels invested in the project. You know, when they look at that thing, they'll be like, "That was me," you know.
Yeah.
And because you've made somebody feel invested in the project, they're going to do their best, and it's going to reflect on the production at the end of the day. Because you know things that make a production look bad at the end of the day. It's not because you can find you have a good director, but the same person who's good and talented is bossy and whatever, and gets angry and insults people and says, bro, you're not gonna, if you're doing sound and somebody insults you, you're gonna be like, you know what, to hell with this
Yeah,
nigga.
yeah.
I'll just do the thing, get my paycheck. You're not gonna do it properly.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that reflects on the production. You know.
You know, I've got a question for you. Like, how many of these, you know, the big blockbuster movies have you like looked at the production side of things? If I gave you two examples, The Mummy, the one with Tom Cruise, you know why I've mentioned it. If you've
The one with Tom Cruise, which one was
the one that they
The
wanted
most
to,
recent.
the one they wanted to launch that dark universe thing. I don't know.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Okay, there is that. Then there is also these Fast and Furious movies that you know the confusion.
Yeah.
Like what would you say as a director? Like if you've looked into that a bit. Like I don't know, is it similar to what you're explaining right now? Because you know how the actors start beefing around themselves. How does it really affect their productivity in the set and stuff like that?
Oh, let me see if I understand you correctly. So you're saying like
Okay, like The Mummy, right?
Mhm.
That one is the clearest.
okay.
There was a vision for it.
Mhm.
It was supposed to be a redo of The Mummy, right? But in the end, it focused on a character who's not the Mummy.
Those one with Jet Li. What does the mummy have to do with the origins of like China?
Yeah.
There are no
It's like-
mummies
okay,
in China, so it's
okay.
like But
Oh, that. You know what I think? I think like when if you see films like that, or for example, the Fast and the Furious, those are like producers that just want to make more money. It's a gimmick, really.
Wow.
Yeah, they'll just like go like, okay, this film sold, right? We can do another one. Let's just hire writers. We'll get a director to shoot it. We get a good DOP, and we'll get it done. That's why you find like some projects, like The Mummy. If I'm not mistaken, the who directed the ones, the first ones? Was it Spielberg?
Yeah, it should be.
I'm not sure.
Should
I'm
be
not
surprised.
sure.
Especially
I'm
the
not sure.
first one, because
I'm not sure. Maybe I'm confusing it with like Indiana Jones, but like, okay, let's say we pick like something like Jurassic Park, right?
Yeah.
The first ones were done by Steven Spielberg.
Yep.
And then as we went on and on and on, you just find. Usually you find like such things, man. Producers look to make money, right? So at the end of the day, especially if you look at Hollywood, and then you look at these films that become sequels, and you see one after the other. One
So,
after-
so
it's money.
So in line with that, are you a franchise guy?
No,
No, you're not.
no,
Okay.
no.
Leave the franchise alone, right?
No, yeah.
Oh, okay.
What's wrong with having a franchise?
I'm not.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Which Fast and Furious is just coming up?
Yeah, the new one.
There's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
With John Cena, you say
Yeah,
It's John Cena.
he's so psyched about it. John Cena's gonna be in it, man.
Who's excited?
Moses.
Okay.
No, the thing
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Is it though?
But
It's more
those,
than
you know,
massive.
okay, for me, like if you those kinds of films, those to me
Yeah.
are like bubblegum films.
Yeah.
Like you can watch it
It's
today
And forget it.
and forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Instant gratification.
But okay.
Fast food.
Compared
Yeah,
to
fast food.
check. Compared that same one, right? Like it's instant. You watch it, it's done.
Yeah.
The Matrix
cannot
stays
even
with
remember
us,
the
right?
first
Right.
installment.
The Matrix stays with
Are they
us,
trying to, like,
and we're
revive
having 4.
Yeah.
Matrix 4 is coming out.
Leave the franchise alone, man.
I don't know. And you know what rumors are coming up?
Yeah.
They're like it's going to be John Wick. Like John Wick's reality is actually the Matrix.
Bruh.
So you know when
Come
you know when they take Neo away,
Yeah.
like he's dead, right?
Yeah.
He's actually being taken to his own special space in the Matrix, where he's given a reality that keeps him constantly on his toes, and thus it is John Wick.
Leave
then-
the franchise. Oh, that's interesting though, but leave the franchise alone, please.
Now
Yeah.
it all depends on how they will communicate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, as in
So
for
it all
me,
depends on the visuals, the story. they
Delivery
want.
as well.
Yeah.
Deliver something as well. Like okay. I could have shot this scene like from like a maybe freaking orthographic point of view as opposed to like perspective. Do you feel like nuanced considerations like that play a part in the delivery of
Big time.
like
Big time.
Yeah?
You know, I think what makes you a good filmmaker is if you really obey the story.
yeah
Because, for example, all right, if
AI? Don't worry.
at least he didn't speak with a Chinese accent. Okay.
I mean, like for example, if you're taking if let's say this guy got dumped, right? This is the story.
Yeah.
This guy got dumped and now he's feeling lonely.
Yeah.
Right? If I get like tight close-ups, you know, oh no, he's lonely and I'm getting really tight close-ups. That's not the story, man. That's not obeying the story because I'm tight, I'm close.
Yeah.
I'm not getting your loneliness.
Yeah.
So what will I do? I'll get like a super wide shot.
So it
Mm.
feels
Like,
empty.
It feels empty.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah.
That then now you're telling a story visually.
How about if I gave you a counter? Like, he's lonely, right? And you're getting very personal with him, so you actually get close to see the emotions on his face.
That-
It's
oh, that's-
that's an interesting take.
Okay,
It's twisted.
No, but not all the time.
Not all the
No,
time.
because look, if that's different. If you're trying to show like, all right, you really want to show this guy's emotion. Okay, tight shots. When you get close, you're really bringing your audience really close to somebody. Because nobody really looks at anybody this
No.
close, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Except
it's
kids.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
nobody.
They are very uncomfortable creatures.
Uncle, look at this thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, if you're getting like a really close up or tight shot, because this now goes back to like the language of cinema. To be a good filmmaker, you have to really understand the language of cinema. If you're watching the movie with no sound on, right, you're still supposed to understand the story because it's supposed to tell you the story visually.
Yeah.
You know that's why like they avoid like having everything explained in dialogue. You know, I'm
Show
feeling
not
sad right now. No,
Yeah.
show it.
Show it, yeah.
exactly. So, what was your question?
Nah, like the contrast, like you've talked about directors having their vision and the cast being involved, like invested in the project, being a good way to bring it out.
Mm-hmm.
The Mummy was supposed to launch Dark Universe, it failed, and then when you look at the way that it was directed, everything centered around Tom Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
There's that issue, like even people reviewing saying he had this ego and stuff like that. So instead of focusing at the Mummy, what people are going after, they're focusing on him.
So
Then-
one thing, yeah, exactly. Tom Cruise is an A-list actor.
Yeah.
You put his face on anything, that movie sells.
Yeah.
So, if
that was the idea.
that is the idea.
But then they allowed him to. I don't know if it's produce it or direct it.
Oh yeah, I know Tom Cruise is really into doing that. He's really hands-on. I've heard that
His
about him.
stunts are always epic.
Yeah.
I have juice for that guy, man. It's like Jackie Chan, but American.
So you do not have a problem with
An
that.
American
Yeah.
Jackie Chan.
With the Mummy.
Yeah.
It was like we say, it's like bubblegum. You chew it, you're done with it.
Fast food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fast food.
Yeah, but we expected more, relatively. Like the Mummy, I still have pictures of that, the actor. it was an epic movie. A lot about it
Which
made
one?
sense.
The
The first
original?
one, the very first one.
Brendan
Fraser.
Fraser, yeah.
But the mummy himself. That's
Oh,
man,
You know
I
what's up.
still have
you know
yeah.
what's up, yeah.
I still have
Yeah.
You
pictures.
guys
of-
remember an actor's name?
Yeah. I'm coming around, man. Dude, so how long have you been doing the film thing? Like, how old are you in this industry?
I'm very young, man.
Mhm.
Very young. I've been now in it for a little over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little over a year now. But for me, I want to do something great.
Yeah.
I don't want to make these bubblegum films. I really don't. I really don't. But there's things that come with there's a difference between like filmmaking for a client
Yeah.
and like your own passion project.
Mm-hmm.
With a client, oh my God, bruh.
Lots of compromise, right?
Ah.
Yeah.
Lots of compromise.
Yeah.
You know, you got to meet deadlines. You have to. You can write the story this one, you're feeling it, and the client is like, nope, this is not working with our audience.
Yeah.
You have to change it. You have to make it a little bit more commercial, and yeah. So I've been doing that a lot, and I'm currently working on a project, and yeah, it's going well. Just like with a lot of headaches, but
Are you at liberty to talk about it?
no,
Not yet.
I think
not
it's still on the
yet.
subject. It's
Not
like
yet, yeah.
so the ones in charge, like the owner of the project, they're taking too much control over it.
Yeah, they're like micromanaging. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, as in, you know, and
Look on your
then
face,
you it's like if you had all the freedoms if you had all the freedoms,
Yeah.
you do it like just from the way you're expressing a lot of what you're saying, you know that this is definitely going to be a good piece, and then you have to work within someone's bubble,
Mm-hmm.
and then you still make an awesome piece. I find that very, very interesting because people are given opportunities, bruh. Like Tomb Raider. Who can remember the most recent one? That is, it was okay, but you can't take much from it. Like there's something missing.
Mhm.
But then you use you use something that's already established, and then you have to recreate it your way,
Yeah.
but keeping the source of the like the essence of the project. It's complicated,
Mhm.
but when you achieve it, it's awesome.
Yeah, it is. But like, you know, I mean, nevertheless, even though there's a lot of micromanaging, it's not like, you know, like you're brought down to a level of being like a robot. You're still creative.
Yeah.
You're still able to make little decisions, and it's cool. It's really interesting.
Like that project you're working on.
Mm-hmm.
First, what was there before it?
No, nothing.
Yeah, so it's the
It's
first.
the first, yeah. It's
What
the
about Savannah Skies, man? Like
Yeah.
you left me hanging.
I can talk about it.
on
You
social
can?
media. I was
Yeah.
like,
Awesome.
I was trying to give this dude a shout out. Him and Mwalu. I was like, yo, my
Yeah.
boys directed. I mean, like Mwalu starred in it, or co-starred, and then Josh directed it. And he just goes like, I did not direct the movie, man.
No.
And that was it.
No.
I was like, okay,
No,
so
no, this is what you
who
said.
did, man?
You said no. This is what you said. You said Josh wrote and
Directed, yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like, no, I never wrote the film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You
never-
directed.
I
that.
directed.
Yeah, okay.
The film. I never wrote the film.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can talk about Savannah
Let's
Skies.
talk about it, man. How did that come?
the story?
How did that come to be?
You haven't watched it?
No.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Ah.
I've seen like bits.
Yeah. Okay. What's the breakdown on it? Yeah.
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 Well, okay. It's a pretty basic story. It's about it's a drama about this girl who's forced into marriage, like an arranged marriage with this other guy, and she has to not be with her lover,
Yeah.
the person she's really in love with. Yeah, that's basically the story. And with that film, okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Honestly, okay, if I can be completely honest.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. Uh-oh. Open another Pandora's box here.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, if I can be completely honest, I don't like the film because it's not where I really want to be. Some people say that I'm just hard on myself, but
think
I
you
want
are.
I want to make something really great,
Yeah.
something really outstanding, and it's just not where I
Okay.
want
To be honest, for me, when it came to that movie, the cinematography, the handling of the scenes, like even the cuts and stuff, it felt good. I like that the basics in cinema studies was there.
No,
You have Chekhov's gun.
those angles that were like from like
Yeah.
from like a corner. I don't know if there's like a term for that, like a technical term, but like from like a corner point of view where you're like focused on like an object.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's pretty much it's a part of the scene, but it's not supposed to be what you're focused on in that scene. But you like come from that angle. Is that something that
I did that on purpose.
okay? Yeah,
I was trying to be
Kubrick. I'm joking.
I was trying to be like symbolic. So there's lots of scenes. Okay, I'll give you one scene for example. There's a scene where they were supposed to like make love, you know. This girl who's just been arranged and the new dude.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to make love, and you know, at in the script, yeah, it's like okay, good, they make love, and it's supposed to be like sort of like a love scene. But it was the first day we were shooting. Those actors just like met like
So there was
a
no-
couple of days ago. There was no chemistry. So we needed to. That was like really like on the set thinking.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, good. Okay, since we're in this predicament, we'll just like sort of infer that they slept together. So she's gonna see. We're gonna take a shot from outside the door,
Yeah.
right? And he's gonna walk up to her. He's gonna say all of that stuff. We're gonna have the music, and then he shuts the door on
Yeah.
the audience,
Yeah.
like keeping you guys out.
Yeah.
And then from there, lucky, you know, the house that was which was Marlo's house.
Yeah.
That house is filled with so many props.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It is.
So it was really good.
Yeah.
I found like this one prop that like this statue,
Yeah.
a small statue of like two people entangled together.
You see the giant spider.
Yeah. So,
Childhood memories, man. I was looking for it now, but yeah, carry on.
yeah, so I got that statue. I was like, okay, we'll put this outside the door, you know, and when the door shuts, we're gonna rack focus from the door to the statue that are like entangled to show that
There's connection.
there's some connection and
The
there's some
signal
stuff
is
going.
complete.
This is exactly
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. So that was like an object
Yeah,
within the scene itself.
exactly.
Yeah, because like for me, the movie was definitely not about the way it was shot.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to say there are weaknesses, the actors were learning. That's the way it feels like to me.
Yeah.
Then the story is what really hurt a lot. Like I understand, like you're starting up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So and I wouldn't say a lot about the cinematography. I actually appreciated it. It
Yeah.
felt different. You have these productions, the local productions. Whenever I see it, I'm like, oh, it's local. Is it on Zambezi? Okay, if it's on Zambezi, then MultiChoice is cool with it. So maybe the cinematography is good. So relatively good.
Yeah.
Then if it's not, the chap's head is partly cut off like our podcast. Where you've got scenes where you know I'm talking to you and it's focused on me and we're across the table.
Yeah.
I'm talking and then you're talking, it's still on me.
Yeah.
Then by the time it shifts to you, you only have one word left. You know, those type of things. But that movie didn't have those.
Yeah.
And I know, just to be a bit into a comfortable place, I think there was a lot of use of wide space. I really appreciated that. Like, you know, those movies, the ones that have been coming out recently from the Talent Factory, you have to appreciate these are local. You guys are local artists, and you're giving it your best at the very start.
Yeah.
You know, for the very first thing, I would expect, wow, it's one of those that goes on ZNBC the moment you use passes and they tell you the next movie is this, and you're like, okay, channel or something like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. I really appreciate that. And for you to say it wasn't, you didn't really like it, I even respect that even more, because I know you're going to do better on the next one. You know.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's why I was like, so first, what did you do before? How about short clips like music and stuff
Yeah.
before that movie?
Oh, like, sorry. what do you mean?
Directing.
Directing, like.
Okay, maybe before this one,
Mhm.
it was mostly just sound engineering.
Yeah,
Uh,
mostly before that I was just like into sound.
We're gonna jump on that, but I want like just the last question that's related to like film and movies and whatnot. Is like, do you always go by the script, or do you believe in like improv? Like those random moments just happen like within the movie, and then it's like we're keeping that. Like I did not plan for that, but like we're keeping it.
Okay,
Like,
so
that kind of guy.
they're like they say they're two kinds of directors. There's
Yeah.
a director who's like really interested in just getting the shots done, getting the shots that he sees, and the actors just have to be on point. And then there are actors directors who like to sit and talk to the actors and try and get them in the zone
Yeah.
and get the visuals. I'm more of an actors director.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe if acting is not some, see, when you say, okay, I'm acting, you're gonna do a bad job.
Yeah.
So acting, you have to just go there. You
Yeah.
know, you have to just be there, be present, and take charge of the character.
Mm.
Don't just look at lines just because the
Yeah.
text says this. Understand subtext.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's all about subtext. Understand subtext. And on Savannah Skies, I think I gave the actors a little bit too much freedom with improv, because it came to bite me in the edit suite. Yeah, it did. It really did.
Yeah.
It really. I learned like, okay, as much as I give the actors freedom, I should really try and make them stick to the line sometimes. Because in the edit, just they're having a conversation. This is take one. We're having a conversation. She says one thing.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. This take didn't go well. Let's try the next take. She's saying something else. I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Now what do? We have to now cut to something else
Yeah.
entirely.
How do we put it together?
Yeah. So it did come to bite me in the edit suite. So I learned from that. But I do love to give the actors freedom to really express themselves and take charge of the character, man. You know, if you consider, have you seen, what's this film? Lincoln. Lincoln. It's about Abraham Lincoln.
I skipped it.
I have. Wait. Okay. I
It's like an
actually.
80s film. It was done in the 80s, I think.
I actually haven't, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the guy who was playing Abraham
Yeah.
Lincoln, he was so much in character, offset,
Yeah.
he didn't respond when people called him by his name. He wanted Mr. President.
Oh.
That's how, like, but the thing is that he gets to that level of being so much in character
Yeah.
that you don't want to, like, you just
You don't wanna break character.
Yeah,
What's
you
the,
don't
what's
wanna
the name
break-
of that
exactly.
acting? Go ahead.
Jared Leto
Yeah.
as the Joker as well, even though he did not. I'm not sure if he did not deliver or it was the director's
Even Silence.
fault, whatever.
Oh, what's the name of that movie?
Christian Bale's not that guy that like
Yeah.
gets into character.
There's a
like,
word they
like
have
he's a
for
risk
that.
taker,
Yeah.
right?
My
He
goodness.
loses lots of weight. He gains lots of weight.
Yeah.
You see him in Vice,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
or the freaking machinist.
Machinist.
as well.
Yeah, that's one
He
of
almost died.
Right?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was
so,
in and out of
yeah.
hospital during
Yeah.
that shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Christian Bale is an actor.
Is that
who
something
takes
that
it
you
to the
like,
Next level.
Advise as well.
I look like, okay. I feel like if you're an actor, man.
Yeah.
First of all, you have to be there for the love of it,
Yeah.
and to be a great actor, you have to be intelligent. There's no two ways about it, man.
Yeah.
This whole thing of an actor who's slow in
Yeah.
here, man, that was
Yeah.
whack.
Yeah. Nice save. Okay. Well, we're still film is still the blanket topic here, but sound engineering, audio engineering.
Yeah.
Dude, when we met in university, you were like the poet, the artist, the writer, and then all of a sudden you like made a jump to like, was it music? You were like rapping for a bit, and you're like, no, I'm gonna try my hand at like sound engineering. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Gumbo.
okay, with being a poet,
Yeah. A girl.
no,
Oh, yeah, it's always a girl, but okay, cool.
I believe I'm still a poet.
Yeah.
I believe I'm still okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to writing.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
See, I've always wanted to make movies. Like this is something that like my mom knows. I've always wanted to make movies from a really, really young age, and I couldn't make movies in Zambia here, man.
Yeah.
But what I could do was write.
Yeah.
And so I got into writing. And the way I got into it, I read a book. I bought it off the bestsellers. I was like, okay, this is the bestseller I look forward to read. And
Online.
No, not online.
Oh.
Yeah. In a bookstore.
Yeah.
An
Because
actual
that's
book?
back in the day. That's what I was like.
Hard copy.
Back in the day, they look at the top sellers on
Physical
Amazon.
pages, like actual pages, physically. So that old book smell. Yeah.
I actually want to get the
Which
prints.
bookstore was that? What bookstore was it? It was just like this book. I don't even remember the name.
Wasn't book or
No, it wasn't bookstore.
Where was that?
Here in town.
And it's good.
Yeah, in LSK. There was a bookstore. There was a bookstore. What's that road? This Cairo Road. Then
Cha-cha-cha?
no, after.
Is it close to Kilimanjaro?
Oh my God, what's the name of that road, man? No.
Not
This is
adjacent, like.
This one.
Parallel
There's a bus station.
Not
Lumumba.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. There used to be a bookstore there,
Yeah.
but it closed down. So I bought a book from there, and it was a John Grisham book. I read it, and I was like, this book is whack. I was so disappointed. I was like, this book is whack, and this is a bestseller. I was like, I think I can write something better. So that's how I wrote my first novel. None of my novels have been published.
How many pages?
It was 300.
Yeah.
So,
I've never gone as far as 200.
How old were you?
how old was I then? I
Yeah.
think I was like,
Don't say 10.
no, I think I was like
Not 12.
11.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I think I was like 11. So I bought that, I read it, and it's good because my mom really introduced to reading culture into me from a young age. So when I read it, I was like, I was with her and I was like, this book is bad, don't read it.
Yeah.
I was like, don't read it, it's such a disappointment.
Yeah.
I was like, I think I can write something better. And she said, okay, go write. And it took me like 3 months, but I wrote my first book.
Nice.
After that, she read it. She was like, yeah, it's okay, but you know, you could improve on the grammar and whatnot. It's like, cool. But I was proud of it, you
Yeah.
know, it was my first
Like
book.
completed it.
Yeah, I finished it, you know. From then, I wrote my second book, which I believe to this day was my masterpiece, man. That book. And it was long. It was like 600 pages plus. And you know what happened to that book?
Mm.
It's lost.
Oh no.
I wrote it on like the PC at home.
Yeah.
Then I went to school,
Floppy.
came back,
With a floppy disk.
came back, and I found a new operating system. I'm
Oh.
like,
What? You can recover it though.
Back then, bro.
Oh, okay. No.
You know why I mentioned floppy? I used to do small things like that. Like
Yeah.
to my notes,
Yeah.
to my short scripts. I like telling my brother stories. I kept a lot of them on floppies.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of them. So you have a stack of floppies like this. And then like 5, 6, then the 7th grade you're like, I finished the exams. Let me go
Get
back
back
to the
to it.
things I enjoy. And I'm like, I'm going to start drawing a comic. I put in the floppies, none of them are working. A stack of them. You know? And all I have are ugly sketches of the Powerpuff Girls and stuff like that. And I'm like, I quit!
Did you have any friends growing up, Josh?
Yeah.
Every page is like, you find yourself in like 3 months writing a book.
600 pages.
Yeah.
No, I had friends.
Yeah.
I had friends. I did have from school. I had friends from school.
What kind of friends?
Just like classmates.
In classmate. Yeah,
Just-
those
just
are the
like-
types.
Yeah, that's like
Ones you can't
classmates,
run from.
man. I
Uh,
had those. I had friends, and they've always known, like, all right, Joshua writes and whatever.
Yeah.
They've always known that about me, and even like right now, when I'm really like, kind of sort of realizing my dreams and sort in the process
Yeah.
of it,
yeah.
they're the ones that are like really proud of me because they're like, yo, you used to love this like
Yeah,
way
yeah,
back,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and I'm glad to see you doing it. So it's really motivating. It's good. But yeah, so when I wrote my second book, lost it. I wrote another book, and then when I wrote my third book, I was like, yo, I think let me write screenplays. Let me just start writing films. So I wrote my first screenplay, and I really want to still make that movie, but it's really going to be expensive. I pitched it once to, I pitched it during the Time Factory. We had this big producer that came in and was telling us a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And he's pretty like an Emmy award winning producer.
okay.
Yeah. So I pitched it to him, and he was like, yo, that story is so sad. And he goes like, but judging from how you just pitched it, I think I would budget it between $700,000 to $1 million. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, it's
gonna
a
take some
drama?
time. Yeah, it's a drama.
How does a drama cost that much?
Yeah, it was a drama.
Did you patent it? Because I mean, you pitched it to someone
Yeah,
that's big.
yeah,
So
yeah,
if
yeah.
a few years from now you see it on
Yeah,
screen,
but I learned that the ways you can protect yourself from that kind of theft,
Yeah.
like intellectual property.
Mm.
The easiest and cheapest way to do it is like to email it to yourself.
Okay.
Records.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So like
yeah,
those who
yeah.
can blog about their stuff,
Mhm.
and also places
Yeah.
like Watchpad where you're experimenting with your
Mhm,
content.
mhm, mhm,
Yeah.
I do that with my writing and like ideas, but like I've never thought of it in that regard.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
internationally especially, you can't really expect our
Oh.
laws to work
Oh.
across. You've seen that Star Trek, the new Star Trek.
Yeah.
It involves this bluish alien that helps them jump space and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
There was a guy who was working on a game, an Egyptian guy,
Mm.
and they stole that idea.
Mm.
You look at the characters, the main character is a black character, he has that black character.
Yeah.
There's a gay character who's in love with the black gay character, those are there in the thing. Everything matches up, and he's been in courts, you know, and he was doing that so that he raises money for his father who's sick. So you can imagine the international community.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like, nah, bruh, this is
Yeah.
not fair.
Yeah.
In the company itself, the Star Trek guys,
Yeah.
which company is behind them? I've forgotten. They, instead of just doing the easy thing, bruh, he's a small guy. Give him $100,000. Forget about it.
Yeah.
You guys are making like 3 seasons, and you're making I don't know how many millions.
Yeah.
Give him a piece. You forget about it. You will be like, I inspired it. So what? We're the ones shooting the show. We'll make the
Yeah.
big money. That's fine, but
Yeah.
you know.
They did.
And
Yeah.
because he was doing that, like keeping those records, he has a chance.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
No, I think it's still going. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So writing.
no, as he should tell us a bit
Oh.
of that story. Should I
Which
explain it?
story?
I mean,
Now that story, and weirdly, it's like it was the first screenplay I wrote, and it's still one that's really close to my heart. And every person that I've given to read it always says the same thing about it, and it's really given me confidence to say, all right, I think if I make this film, but it's got like I told myself like this film in particular, man, I have to shoot it really high end, man. I mean, really high end. If I have to, if I'm directing it and I can't find a DOP here in Zambia, I'll
what's
get
the
I'll,
DOP?
a director of photography.
Okay.
If I can find a good DOP or cinematographer here in Zambia, I'll outsource, man. I just want the best of the best on that project, cause yeah, it's like a project that's really close to my heart. And from then on, I started writing more scripts and more scripts and more scripts. I taught myself how to write scripts. I never went to school to write scripts and whatnot.
Yeah.
And by the time I was getting to Talent Factory, I wrote like a total of 23 scripts. And these are like full features. Because, I didn't, funny thing, I never even had the knowledge of shorts. Like, you can make a short film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, everything.
It was always long form.
Yeah, everything, like, with film, especially with film, like, my taste and all the films that I've seen are, like, heavily influenced by my parents. Because my parents love watching movies and they love watching really great films. So I grew up watching, like, really, really great films. So that's why when I watch something that's like, it's alright. And even though there's like a buzz around it, bruh, that movie was whack.
Yeah, it's just it's all hype.
Yeah, like
I remember you always talk down on me, man. You said Pulp Fiction. Kinda, dude. Like, why? That kind of thing. So it's like he always talked about great movies. And
Yeah.
Yeah. Where was I? I think I was reading too many comic books and listening to too much rock music.
But these days, when it comes to like my taste in cinema, I'm like, the more I grow with cinema, the more I move away from Hollywood. And I'm getting really, I love Japanese cinema.
Yeah. Japanese, Korean, even French films.
Yeah.
Like if you want different tastes, you go to different places.
Yeah.
Koreans for those sad love stories, possibly. If you want to watch the cheesy love stories, that's fine too. Then you go Japanese, if you go the gangster side of the Japanese stuff.
A lot of the American directors actually steal from the Japanese directors.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's his name? The Cameron guy. Directed Terminator.
James Cameron.
Yeah.
Lots of his
Influences
are from Japanese
Yo,
culture.
Japanese cinema is like off the chain, bro. I mean, if you just consider filmmakers like Yasujiro Ozu, who's like
Did he recently get an Oscar? That wasn't him, right? No, sorry. He's dead. I'm
He's
sorry,
long
man.
dead.
He's long dead. He's dead.
long dead. Yeah.
There's a Japanese
the
director.
one behind Parasite.
Yeah, him.
Well, Parasite is Korean.
It's Korean.
No, but isn't there a Japanese director who beat Quentin Tarantino? That's a Korean dude. It's not Japanese.
Yep.
Yeah, he's Korean.
I'm
But
actually-
from Parasite.
I think it was it should be
Yeah.
Parasite. Who directed Snowpiercer though?
Bruh.
Which one?
Snowpiercer.
I haven't seen
Never
it.
seen Snowpiercer.
No.
Which one? The new one, like the series?
No, the movie.
They are making a
the
series, by the
2013.
way.
Oh, they are? And that's how the franchise died. No, it wasn't even supposed to be a franchise. It was just supposed to be a standalone movie.
Yeah, just one movie was.
Anyway, we digress.
Mhm.
So, Japanese culture. Yeah. Ozu, right?
Yeah,
That's
yes.
where the name came from.
Yeah, Yasujiro Ozu.
Yeah.
When I first watched his films, like the first film that I saw of his is a film called Tokyo Story. The first time I watched that film, I was like amazed. My mind was blown. And I understand like his kind of films are not for everybody.
Yeah.
But his films were told so actually, one fun fact about Ozu films is that Ozu is coined as the most Japanese director of all Japanese directors.
Yeah.
Because his films were actually kept away from the world
Yeah.
for I think up until the late 80s or early 90s.
When did he die?
He died like in the 60s.
Dude. Decades.
Yeah.
Snap.
Yeah, he died
Then like decades, or is it generations later?
generations later. So when his films were released to the world,
Yeah.
everybody loves his films because why? Because as much as his films were like, okay, yeah, the Japanese culture is really strong and heavy in his films, but at the end of the day, he told home dramas. Meaning his films were all about family, all about like how this generation relates to the generation before, how you relate to your brother, how you relate to your sister. He just talked about families, and when it comes to it, all human beings relate to
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
you know. And the simplicity of his work, man, is what I found so beautiful,
Yeah.
and also the way he shot it,
Yeah.
and the fact that he was so like hell bent on achieving symmetry
Yeah.
to a point that he didn't care about continuity of the film. He just wanted to achieve symmetry in the frame. He only used a 50 millimeter lens in all his films.
Actually,
I just-
the way you explain that, I don't know if you know this accented media, accented cinema. This guy on YouTube, he focuses at international films, not American only. Like part of what you're saying, I'm not even sure if he's looked at his movies. There's one way he was explaining this lady. I don't know if it's China or what. You know the way we have the ghetto here. For them, they've got some places where it's all just seems underground. Like it's just some big structure, buildings connected to each other just by the roof. And then he's showing this lady. She's like, something terrible is about to happen to her, and then you're forced to see, like, have a stronger intro. What was it?
Introspection.
Yeah, like you actually see that where she's going, you don't want her to go. So the only scene that guy focused at to demonstrate that was her walking through a corridor. It even shows how narrow it is. She walks through a long corridor. As she's moving, he's peeking through the doors that are open. This side is a tailor. This side there are people doing like gambling. This side is a restaurant. She enters the last room to the right, and you don't go with her. You stay in the corridor, and when she's in that room, you're just seeing the back of her. You think, this director, he's not keeping focus. And then he brings you into the room. Now it just feels like a whole new space.
Yeah.
For her, she's seeing hope in that moment. But the moment she's done having that conversation with that person, she goes back into the corridor, and guess what? You don't follow her out so that it's dynamically shifts perspective.
Yeah.
You're forced back into that position where you feel she's closed in and she's going through a dangerous path.
Yeah.
It's weird. These guys, the Japanese directors, they've
But
got
that's like a really nice creative choice, because sometimes it's like more powerful to leave something to the audience's imagination.
Not everything needs closure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep saying
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Like what's this film? It's Tarantino film. Reservoir Dogs. Have you
Yeah.
seen
Yeah.
Reservoir Dogs? So there's that scene where the guy cuts off the guy's ear.
Yeah.
So
Violence.
it's also so Tarantino's like, we shot that scene like I don't know how many times.
is that
so many
is that the
good-
one that was done from like there's an actual Asian movie that's exactly the same, but
Oh, is
he
it?
did a twist on it.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I'll try to remember that. For those who are listening, I'll find that for you. It's interesting. Go on.
Oh.
Because when you
Lost
mentioned
train of thought.
cut the ear.
Yeah. So like in that scene where he said like we got so many shots of the guy cutting off his ear and there was blood and everything. But the one that was most powerful is the one where he pans away from the scene. And all you're hearing is the screaming and whatever. You don't actually see
Yeah.
that. Because now the audience is imagining
Yeah.
the words. So that's more, sometimes it's more powerful.
Yeah.
And those are just like creative decisions.
Yeah.
But like if you're now thinking of like Japanese cinema, so rich, man. Another director who I just love is Kurosawa, Akira Kurosawa. He's done a lot of films, man. Sometimes I think he's even coined as like the king of camera movement, because the way he moved the camera was really beautiful.
Is he behind Earthquake Girl, last year's movie?
No, he's also dead.
Oh.
Yeah, he's also dead. But a lot of his films, I think one was done in an anime. I'm sure you've seen it. Seven Samurai.
Oh.
I haven't seen Seven Samurai.
Oh.
No.
But you've heard of Seven
Yeah,
Samurai.
no.
Rings a bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also like it's an anime.
Yeah.
And it was taken from his film. He
Oh.
did Seven Samurai. He did a film called Ran, RAN. It's just like, I mean,
Yeah.
the more I get into cinema, the more I move away from Hollywood. like I'm really getting, like I said, Japanese cinema, and now then like Mexican cinema. I never knew Mexican cinema was so rich.
Yeah.
There's this what's this director? Fernando what?
There's that South American dude that directed. Have you seen Into the Void? Is it Enter the Void? Or Into the
Yeah.
Void? Have you seen that movie from like a first-person view perspective of sorts? And it's like the whole film feels like an LSD trip, but it was filmed in Japan as well.
Oh.
And it's just going through like the notions of like this one dude like from Inception, from the room. So there's a view from inside the room, but from like first person to like him coming into the world and then just going through phases of like life and whatnot.
Yeah.
But that's like that's the entire film. You haven't seen it.
No, I don't think
I
I've
think
seen
you should. I think you'd like it.
Into the Void.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was like
Sounds interesting.
like lots of like visual aesthetics that were tied into like geometry, like sacred geometry, because he was like, this is the kind of stuff I saw when I took this psychedelic in South America, and so there's like these weird shapes and whatnot. That's like the entire film. It's like I don't know. It's like a virtual trip.
It sounds like a
Yeah,
massive
yeah.
trip, yeah.
But yeah, I think you should see it. Yeah, I think you would draw something from it. I think. What were we? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
South American producers.
Oh yeah, like Mexican cinema, man.
Yeah.
It's really rich. I saw this movie, I think that was like a month ago.
Yeah.
And it's really stayed with me. It's really strong. What's it called? La Isla de la Pasión. I think, yeah.
The passion
Yeah.
of something else. You
The
say
most
that
passionate
you-
people, man.
Oh my goodness. I mean, cause I stole a book once called Mexican Cinema.
You stole it.
Yeah, I stole it
Mm-hmm.
from the Zamcom library.
Uh-huh.
You know that?
Zamcom. This is just.
That was a joke.
It's a joke, even though I'll read it and hopefully if it's good, I'm not giving it back. I'm sorry.
Carry on.
You know what's funny? Like that library has got so many really great books, man. Anyway,
No one reads them.
nobody.
It's
reads
a
them.
waste, man. It's a
Nobody
waste.
reads them.
It's a waste.
I'd rather watch Baywatch and then be like, okay, I'm gonna go to a movie like that.
No,
Yes,
I'm actually getting back into serious reading. I want to read The Prince by Machiavelli. What's his name? Something Machiavelli.
Yeah.
It's interesting. There's a way the mindset works, and I think I'm starting to see that side of me. That's for later.
Have you
Yeah.
have you read The Catcher in the Rye?
No, I haven't.
Ulysses? No. Okay. Cool. I should lend you some books as well.
Mm.
Cool.
No, I know.
Yeah, I know you've heard of them as well. Yeah, but like I haven't gotten around to reading them. I purchased the books, so I want to read
Well,
them.
the guy who shot
Yeah.
not Elton John, John Lennon
Yeah,
shot him after reading that book, right?
The Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna read this book.
You should.
Have you read it?
No, I read it. Yeah.
You should.
I purchased it.
I want you to
Yeah,
read
me
this.
recently,
I want
yeah.
you to read it. So
Oh, but wait,
so that
I
can
lent
decide.
it. I lent it. Oh my god, she shouldn't finish it then.
No, I'd like to read it.
I lent it to someone special, so it's like
I want to understand the
It should be-
connection
it
that
should-
I
it should-
had.
Special.
so get short.
Love
Get-
is in the air. Alright,
What were we
Sing away,
talking
man.
about?
he was
Camera
talking about
movement.
Mexican, Mexican
Yeah.
movies,
Yeah.
La Pasión, something.
La Isla de la Pasión.
Yeah.
But is it gangster based? Because most Mexican movies that I tend to see have an element of like these gangs. And
No, it's not. It's not. It's very simple. It's just about this girl who wants to be loved. But you know, I find I'm really drawn to really simple films. You know, I feel like when a film is simple, you don't have to try and catch up or you're just there. You're in the moment. You know.
Yeah.
I really like simple stories because they're the strongest. That's what I believe.
What's your comment on it?
Good.
No, bruh. Like Indian in general, because there's one I'll mention
Apple
after.
pie? That
Huh?
was a brilliant movie. I
Which
liked
one?
it. Life of Pi.
Life of Pi?
Yeah.
Bollywood
that
is
one
really
is,
good.
isn't it Hollywood?
I know, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There's an Indian.
Yeah, but it's a good movie.
Yeah.
No, Bollywood is really
Not
good.
to
And
sound
they've got really, really. You know, okay, and let me just go back to Zambia.
Mhm.
And
I feel this is like a strong reason as to why our industry is still lacking, still in its infancy. It's because we're trying to copy what America does.
Yeah.
But you see, man, nobody does America better than America.
Yeah.
And the reason why these other like industries are flourishing and they're able to stand by themselves is because these guys embrace themselves. You look at it, you will never find a Japanese film in English. You never find a French film in English.
Even South African movies, you have a lot of elements. That's new horror movie. 8. The first time I got it, no subs. What? A lot of conversations are missing. I'm like, I want to know this part.
Yeah.
You have to look for the subs. You get the subs.
Mhm.
Oh, this is what's happening. You know, it's and they're doing that so that you're absorbed in their culture because it means something when I say, "Abashkuru nabisa."
Yeah.
My uncle has come. It sounds
Yeah,
very.
I was actually seeing something. It was a movie that was shot by a director from Iraq.
Yeah.
So he was looking at it. Okay, so there's this scene where there are these kids that are like getting initiated into some kind of cult, whatever. So it's like the background music that plays in there is like it's a Radiohead song, and he says he did that deliberately. Radiohead is a band from the UK, by the way. He says he did that deliberately because he wanted to give that scene a view, like a viewpoint, or rather perspective from the viewpoint of a foreigner. Because if he had played like a native song, like a
The
song from like
context
Iraq,
would kind of be.
that would completely shift the dynamic, or rather the context as well, because you'd be looking at it from like a
The perspective would be different.
familiar space of sorts.
Yeah. Stereotypes would just come
Yeah,
through.
yeah.
Like,
But then
okay.
he chose to use a soundtrack from like an English band
Yeah.
Yeah,
just for that. You
I
know?
feel like when it
Yeah.
comes to music for film,
Yeah.
just embracing your culture doesn't mean you only have to play like Zambian music.
Yeah, that's I was going there.
Yeah,
So I was,
yeah,
I was like,
Like it has
I was trying to
it
segue
has
into
to
that.
fit the setting.
Yeah.
Just like
You're telling the story. It's,
Yeah.
it's everything in film. Every department needs, because you just have to obey the story. So
Yeah.
every department, what they're doing is telling their part of the story.
Yeah.
You have wardrobe, right?
Yeah.
Wardrobe is I'll pick a scene from what's this film? Okay, let's just pick any random thing, any random scene. Like you walk in, like let's say we just start the scene with this guy who's got a computer on and his table is a mess and he's fat and he's got a little ketchup on his
We're setting up the scene now.
yeah. He's got a little ketchup on his shirt.
Yeah.
You know, he's got an unfinished burger here.
And he
Just
just
with that, without dialogue, without anything, you've told the story. You've already communicated, all right, this guy works a lot.
Yeah.
He's probably pretty good at what he does.
Slow.
He's a slob.
Mhm.
Yeah. You've communicated all of that, and that's different departments working.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's different departments working.
Yeah.
Right? So there you have production design, right? Who's making his whole workspace look like, man, this guy, he probably sleeps at 5 in the morning every day.
Takes
You
a
know?
lot of caffeine.
Yeah, it takes a lot of
I do that, but
caffeine.
my room is neat. only the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
wardrobe is telling that part of the story by adding ketchup on his shirt, having his tie not
Yeah.
not nicely adjusted,
Yeah.
glasses on, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody's telling that DOP is also going to tell us part of the story,
Yeah.
right? By not having the place look bright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna light it like low key lighting.
Like
It's gonna
if
make
light
it
is
dark.
coming, it only has one source.
Yes, you know, it's
But you know, this is ironic because Well, this is both in a visual setting. As a writer, are you like a definitive guy? As in, that's a question, which you can answer after this. But then, because I feel like visually, like when it comes to like screenplay and like film, you're more of like a visual storyteller. You're not you don't lean towards dialogue as much. I've picked that up from you. But as a writer, you sort of want to like describe what you're talking about. So it's almost like a catch-22. It's like you sort of have to like
Is your art
no, not suppress, but you sort of have to like change your
Perspective.
your perspective, or rather your thought process when you're. Oh, do you have to do that? Is that something that you think about
Yeah.
consciously?
Okay, so what I feel is like, if you're writing, like, you know, you're a novelist and you're writing a novel,
Yeah.
you can go crazy with your descriptions.
Yeah.
And you can describe little things like the wind brushing across his face and
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If you're writing for film,
Yeah.
you have to come to a certain compromise, because not everything you write will be shot.
True.
If you write out, he steps outside and the bird comes and sits on
Yeah.
his car. Dude, how are you gonna shoot that, man?
Yeah.
How are you gonna shoot that? You know?
CG
Well, CGI.
Exactly.
in Zambia.
What's CGI? Yeah, you could
Yeah.
do that. But like, I'm just thinking like, all right, this is an indie project.
Yeah.
And how are you gonna execute that? So, for me, when I'm writing for film, I just try and hit the nail on the head. You know, get what I want across, and obviously try and be as visual as I can, without like mention. Because now it's another thing. If a writer comes in and he types, "We have a close up of Tumelo as he sits in front of the microphone."
Yeah.
Now that's a problem, because now
Yeah.
you're directing, you're doing the director's job by putting in shots.
Yeah.
But a writer can infer that and can like suggest that
How would you rate that?
by saying, okay, we are right in Tumelo's face, and he's
Ah.
scared.
And we already assimilated that he is in the studio, so no need to mention the mic.
Yeah. For example, if that's the setting, yeah. But you can suggest shots as you write for film.
Yeah.
But you can't write the shot like
Yeah.
wide shot as you walk. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Because I know a bunch of directors
I've
that
seen
were
that.
really
I've-
offended by that.
Yeah.
And because the process of it is writer writes a spec script, which is like a speculative script, and then that script is, after like several drafts and you get the final draft, the final draft of the script is changed into a shooting script.
Yeah.
And now that's with the director's input, where he's going to say, okay, here when he says this, I think we're going to pull out is a dolly in. All right, here we're going to get a wide shot. Here, you know, we tilt up, we pan left, blah blah. That's when the director comes in and puts all. That's when it's like a shooting script,
Yeah.
ready to be shot, you know. But a writer doesn't have the freedom to, unless the writer is going to be the director as well. That's when you can do all
Right
that
to the
stuff.
direct.
Are you a linear storyteller? Give an example of a director like Nolan.
Yeah. It's not linear at all.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
Movies like Inception
Yeah.
and
Dunkirk.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know The Dark Knight.
Eureka 7.
Yeah.
The new one.
I haven't seen the new one yet.
What? 7.
Yes, Eureka 7. What's the there's another part of the title.
Yeah.
The first one is irritating. Like it has got a lot of jumps. Oh, play forward. Minutes later, hours later, years later, play backwards.
Okay, yeah. So what's your take on that? Are you? Is that something that you're a fan of, or something that you try to?
No, I don't like avoid it. You know, if you're not linear, if you're like non-linear with the storytelling, you just have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You have to know exactly what you're doing and make sure you don't confuse your audience, and make sure, even though you're going back and forth, you're still keeping your audience engaged. Because at the end of the day, man, you have to entertain your audience, man.
Yeah.
That's at the end of the day. So,
that's literally.
Do you though?
like for example, what?
Do you though? As in, is that mandatory?
To entertain.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Bruh, even
But
yeah,
entertaining is like
It's-
a broad
it's-
statement.
yeah,
It
like
could be
it's-
compelling. You know,
It's
something-
subjective. It's
if
subjective,
something.
yeah.
Okay, for example, I'm just using the word entertain, but like if my
Engage?
movie engage.
Yeah.
Okay, let me say engage. But it's entertainment.
Well, I might be entertained by trying to solve a hard problem in a game. Like,
Yeah,
let's
uh-huh,
talk about games because that's more
Yeah.
my field. So like, I'm not really like a Call of Duty, FIFA kind of guy because it's like, there's like that brawn thing that goes on. Bro, I'm trying to beat you, bro. I can take you down. I'm more of like an indie puzzle game kind of guy.
Yeah.
So I find that's like my definition of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Those like confusing, complex, like you have no idea what's going on. There's no tutorial. There's no, oh, here's a box, so you can stand on the box. There's a crack on the wall, so you can break the wall. Those are not my games. That's not my idea of fun. But that's like what the mainstream is like trying to like make us regurgitate as like fun.
Mm-hmm.
If a game doesn't have like a tutorial or doesn't get like 10,000 people playing on the same server at once, then it sucks, right? But I'm like on the opposite end of that. So it's like, is that your take as far as like movies are concerned as well?
Well, okay. Like maybe I used like entertain is maybe the wrong word.
Yeah.
I would say maybe engage.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's supposed to compel your audience, man. Otherwise, why are you making the movie?
When are you making it for yourself? And the people that
Now you brought up something interesting.
Okay,
So I
yeah.
believe there are three kinds of filmmakers.
yeah,
There's one, a filmmaker who makes movies for himself,
Yeah.
right? Just like
just trying to convey emotion.
for
something,
yourself, meaning you're kind of like a hobbyist, and if people don't like your film, that's
It's
like,
whatever.
It's whatever. It's your film,
Yeah.
you know. The filmmakers who make films for other filmmakers,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
I feel like that's you, but I'm joking.
The filmmakers that make films for other filmmakers,
Yeah.
and that's when you're gonna see these like crazy art films, man. This like transcendental style filmmaking, yeah. Then the filmmakers that make movies like for the world.
Yeah.
So you have to understand what kind of movie you're making. You make a movie for yourself. If you make a movie for yourself, I believe it's the same take even on music. You know?
Media,
Yeah.
all forms of media.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you're doing it for yourself, you know, and then don't get it out there, man. Watch it by yourself, and if that satisfies you, then fine.
Yeah.
If you're making movies for other filmmakers, man, that means you're expecting someone to come back to you and go like, you know, I think in the 85th frame, I think your lighting wasn't consistent. I think you should have brought in a little bit more depth, you know, you should have used a bit of negative feel, you know, expect
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But for me, I don't make movies for myself, I don't make movies for filmmakers.
Yes.
I make movies for the world. I want to make movies for ordinary people.
Mm.
That's why when I write something,
Yeah.
I don't like to give other writers to really read my work.
Mm.
Because the writer will come and go like, you know, I think when you're getting into the second act, I'm not really thinking, there's too much exposition. I feel like the inciting incident should occur a little bit earlier. What, you know, they'll come with all of that.
Yeah.
But for me, that's like, bruh, I
Yeah.
don't care. But I really don't care. You know, when I went to film school, that's when I started learning like these rules of writing of like, 3-act structure, 5-act structure, your protagonist and your antagonist and your inciting incidents, your major plot points. For me, I didn't know all of this stuff. Man.
Yeah.
For me, it was just story. Tell
Yeah.
the story. Just tell the story,
Yeah.
man. And then when I was learning that stuff, I was like, oh, I was actually doing all of that stuff, but I just didn't
Naturally.
know. Naturally, yeah. And
So again, it's a natural born talent.
it is.
Horseback.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So for me, I don't like to give writers to read my work. I like
Yeah.
to give normal people, someone
Okay.
or somebody who just is not into writing, not into
yeah,
filmmaking,
yeah.
because that's the person who I want
Okay.
to captivate.
Yeah.
That's my target.
Yeah.
Somebody who, if I can get somebody who doesn't read a book
Yeah.
to read my book
Okay.
from start to
All right.
end,
All right. That's
then
yeah.
I feel like I've really achieved something.
That's
There's
exciting.
something you say on the three. You say the first one, is it writing for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
and you don't show it to the world, it's for yourself. I would like we had that artist from what's the name again that time? Man, I'm so bad with memory. The white guy. Joe?
John Mark?
Yeah.
Oh, John,
Is it?
What about him?
Yeah, you remember what he said about his art?
The white guy.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I'm trying to remember. So
Yes,
to
John
be
Mack.
descriptive.
From Why Not?
Yeah. So like he said he does his stuff for himself,
Yeah.
but he what he
Wants people
wants.
to engage.
Yeah. So he's not really doing it like it's for myself. I'll keep it to myself.
Yeah.
He's doing it for himself so that people can enjoy.
Okay, so maybe it's the way the question is phrased as well. Like, are you trying to like convey your emotions first and then get someone to like? You're trying to invite someone into your world.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. I identify. With
I think that's the same thing. I think
Yeah.
what he meant was like he's making music for first of all to like sort of satisfy himself.
Yeah.
And he's trying to bring people into his world.
Yeah.
So what I think when it comes to he's not really making music for himself. You know.
Yeah, that's why I asked about
Yeah.
that. Like,
He's
Because-
making music
because the essence is
He's trying to connect.
connect
Find
exactly.
people that identify.
Exactly,
With what
yes.
he's trying to convey.
So Muka, what you're trying to say is that
the essence of it starts with himself. Like he has to enjoy it first. He's made it
Of
for
course,
himself,
Of course, yeah.
but he's making it for the world. Because that's what it seems like. Like
Or people like him? No, maybe not people like him.
No,
Yeah.
yes, because okay, if you look at it like that, for me, if I sit down and say, okay, I'm gonna write a script, it has to move me first. Yeah, it has to move me. That's when I can give it to because I won't write saying like just because I'm
I'm
making movies for the world, I'm not gonna try and write like, okay, what about that guy
The
who's
new.
who's- I'm not gonna think of that
new
guy.
trend.
I was about to ask
Then-
about,
then
I was
you
going to ask
just-
about compromise.
Yeah,
but
you just
I'm not gonna think of that guy like, oh, why does that guy get offended by if I write it like this?
Am I
or
writing the
so
right
stuff.
gender norms?
Yeah, I'll write for me first.
Yeah.
It first has to move me. I first have to feel it because okay, for me when I write, that's why like I really like writing when I'm alone because when I write, that's when you can catch me like in a really vulnerable state because I get so into it. If I'm writing and the characters are angry, I get angry. I become angry and I get easily agitated. If it's something really emotional, I have to cry. You know, I have to cry. If I don't cry, then it's not moving me. Then it's not yet there. I have to look at it again.
Yeah.
You know, so I get like really into it. That's me.
Yeah.
I don't know about other writers, but that's me.
This is a question I always ask artists and creatives overall. Do you believe in censorship in art?
in line with the scene in Savannah Skies.
Have you seen a movie called what's that movie called? Love.
Love.
Yeah, it's called
Is that an
Love.
old one?
No, it's not that.
No, I
one.
haven't seen it.
Wait.
But it
That's-
starts.
That's not. That's not the Scarlett Johansson one?
No.
No. Okay. No.
It starts.
That's
It's,
a story of marriage or something.
That's
Oh,
Mary's
okay.
story.
I have
Yeah.
marriage. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
really great film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, really great film.
it's quite deep.
Scared of watching it. It's not that
Yeah,
that's
so since-
that's Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You should watch it.
No, it's really good. Really good. My kind of films.
I'll try.
Dialogue. 100.
Yeah.
Okay. Censorship in art.
Okay, I feel like just have to obey your story, man. If your story, because you get to a certain point of where the film tells itself. That's how I feel that's how it's going in the right direction.
Yeah.
If it gets to a point where like characters just speak for themselves, it's just like this vessel.
Yeah.
You just become this vessel, man. And these characters, that's when the characters become alive and they start speaking for themselves and what.
Well, not you trying to sugarcoat. With
Yeah,
things.
not you trying to. So in terms of like censorship, I feel like look, if your scene will benefit if your story is going to benefit by showing this naked girl or this naked guy, or a few cuss words here and there and all of that stuff, do it. It's art, you know.
Okay, I'll give you an example. Like I really like these guys who
Have you
look
seen The
into these
Departed?
movies. Yes.
And how about the love movie we're talking about?
Oh, because he talks about censorship and love just begins with this really intense sex scene. It's kind of like porn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this one, Kubrick. Was it Kubrick? I forgot what. Maybe that's South American director. It's like a 10-minute rape scene.
I was actually
Like,
getting
it's like-
to that.
I'm not gonna censor that. It has to be told as it is, because that's the only way you're gonna understand the
Those
intensity
those
of that
real life
moment. Yeah.
real life depictions.
Like, yikes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
But
man.
in line with censorship,
Mhm.
is it?
Yeah, so
Necessary.
here's the concept for like the one he's talking
Yeah.
about. If you want to see a lot of those disturbing movies, this guy is Spooky Rice on YouTube. He watches a lot of that and does explanations on them and stuff like that. So here's one of them that I saw. This woman has got 3 daughters, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Then she cares mostly about one of them. The 2 sisters who are not cared for, I think maybe had a different father or something like that. So she despises them. Then there are these kids in the neighborhood, boys and girls, and mostly boys, that is. They play around with these girls. They'll throw stones at them. The younger one is crippled, kind of. Then who's supposed to be taking care of these kids allows those boys in the hood, to rape the girl. And then they rape the younger girl as well. And when trying to escape, the one that he explained, it ended a very weird way. She managed to save her younger sister, like getting the police to call. Then the younger sister escaped. For her, it seemed as though she escaped. Like you even see her happy and stuff, but she's actually dead. Like it takes you back to the basement where she was kept. They would stab her, burn her, and all these things. And all the kids in the neighborhood were doing that, and the mother was one enticing them to do that. So that's not just rape that they were showing in there. There was also torture. Those very disturbing things. Now we can put the question about censorship, because the real story is actually worse than that. Just like some Japanese story about a girl, she leaves work late at night. Then these guys, Yakuza guys, one of them is interested in her. He drives her, like he gets to her, tells her, "I'll walk you home," acting like a good guy. Then all of a sudden, she goes into a different place because he's directed her to a different place. They keep her in their apartment for months. They're doing all sorts of things, and if you saw the true story, it's very disturbing. Then the ones who are directing the movie, they try to reach that level. She ends up in a bucket, like these cans, cement, and thrown into a field. It's very disturbing.
Whoa.
So now the question is, that's a real story. And obviously the point of the story is to show that this nonsense happens. Those guys actually let go. They were given 16 years. I think it's even reduced for some of them. And they're out now. Not even reformed. Like, no one knows if they're reformed or not. And that girl is dead like that. So, the idea of censorship on that, does it
do justice to the story?
is it necessary for the story,
Yeah.
and does it do justice to actually ignore censorship and let people see the whole?
Still the
I
fact.
think, like he said, you're obeying the story. In that, they didn't tell the full story, like everything. They didn't show everything. It's kind of like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
The Manson made murders.
Mm.
They didn't fully do the whole thing. They just picked more like a reference to those events.
What tone was it? I haven't really watched it.
You haven't seen it.
I haven't. Like I have had a chance, but
You should.
how was the tone relatively for the movie?
It's a Tarantino movie, so obviously
Yeah.
there's a
Light humor.
dark humor.
Dark humor.
And,
Bruce Lee got over it.
Yeah,
That's even so funny.
okay. Dark humor, violence.
Yeah, the thing with that's why I asked about the tone. The thing with those types of movies, for me, it just ends up being a movie. It feels like it's he's a great director. Like you actually get engaged in it. You actually feel those moments, the hard moments, the disturbing moments. You feel them.
Mhm.
But when you come out of the movie, it just feels like a movie half of the time for me. I'm just saying, like
No, but that particular scene was, for me, I got it like trying to create a relief out of that tragedy in a way, kind of like him, the protagonists preventing other murders, other people getting murdered by those guys that came to that neighborhood and stuff like that. So them depicting that.
Oh,
was,
are you talking about the same thing? Because you're talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right?
yeah.
And you're talking about the other film you saw.
No, we're not talking about the same.
it's his the one that he's watched.
Okay.
Yeah,
Once
but
Upon a Time.
I haven't seen yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually picking-
relating to creating a relief, creating like, oh, maybe out of that feeling of, oh, we lost these people, but oh, here is an aid, like a band-aid of some sort.
Yeah, that's why I'm like those
Tarantino
ones.
did the same thing with what's this other film? Inglorious Bastards.
Never seen that one. Sorry.
Because in there they kill Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like
Now that's why I'm telling you. For me, it feels like those are actually meant to for popcorns. Like the stories. No, as in serious. Check. You've got the hard moment. It's hard. It's sick. Like it's there in that movie. I know for sure. Like you actually feel this is a terrible thing that's happening, but that band-aid kills it for me. Like those people
think
died.
They should keep it.
Yeah,
That's
see,
it.
I'll give you
that's
another
the thing.
example.
It goes back to closure thing.
The closure.
Yeah, like not everything needs closure. Like okay, like this happened to this person, and there was no band-aid.
But like if you're considering like those Tarantino films, that he's like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood wasn't really about the murders.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't.
It
yeah,
wasn't about
yeah,
it.
but
It
that
was about
particular.
the actor. And
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
whatever.
So now the
They
question
just
would
picked
be,
that reference.
Yeah,
more
yeah.
like the
than
murders
relation.
themselves, were they justified in the movie? Like, do you actually feel, hey, Once Upon a Time talks about these murders?
No, it does not.
You know, it
You
does.
see
That's
that?
like-
You see that? Like,
it's
that's
like-
why I'm like, it's like a popcorn movie.
It
to
was a
me.
reaction to something actually.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
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 It's a
Brad Pitt
reaction.
going over to
More
anyway.
like
You know what?
reference.
So like, okay, let's take
No,
both
like
of them.
you see, you're talking about a movie that was
In fact, they-
non-fiction,
yeah.
right? And but was there any band-aid put on it or anything? It
Zero.
wasn't. Yeah. So I feel like if you're doing something non-fiction and it's like a true story that you really have to deliver, man, you have to give it as raw as
As
you
possible.
can. Yeah. Because you're trying to tell what happened. You know,
Yeah.
you want people to understand what happened. But like the film he's talking about, man, it's just Tarantino,
Censorship
man.
wouldn't play.
So okay, what I'm trying to get at is what's the censorship in what sense?
Okay, so in this case, like that one, right? It does have real murders
Yeah.
mentioned. Not really. That's not the essence of the movie. Then I think censorship would fare reasonably there, unless if the target was R18 plus. You know, like very gruesome. Then definitely you expect no censorship, basically, right? But if it's general for the general public, anyone can watch it. Like this is just a movie. Tarantino does fun movies and he takes serious topics, lumps them in. Censorship can work there. But how about for this side? If we're focusing at the Manson murders themselves,
Then tell it.
then it's killing the
Yeah.
story, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
censorship.
Yeah.
itself.
How about okay, that's like something that we can look at. How about censorship in terms of laws?
That's one
Like,
thing.
yeah, like for this particular country.
Ah. Oh, in fact, that's funny that you've mentioned that. You've seen circulating on Facebook, social media. They've got Zicta worked together with the police to arrest people distributing porn through WhatsApp and Facebook groups.
No.
Then the comments that are coming under there, because clearly it's porn, right? And by law, it's not allowed, right? There is just one person out of I don't know how many, maybe 80 of the comments I saw said, aren't they invading our right to privacy? Like they're going into our groups in WhatsApp. Is this private?
What kind of porn? As in Zambian porn?
Yeah. You remember that minister? Yes, there was a minister who distributed porn. Yeah.
Zambian porn?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Like porn of Zambians?
Yes.
Oh.
So like there are groups that have been distributing that.
No,
Yeah.
but are they the ones? The
They were
people
caught.
in the same.
No,
Were they
I think
the ones
the
distributing
the key thing, yeah, like the managers, the admins of the groups, the Facebook groups especially, and the owners of the WhatsApp groups were the ones that were caught with the help of Zicta. So only one person in the comments talked about, and that's the one I'm picking because it involves censorship, right?
Yeah.
He says, don't we have a right to privacy?
No, but if they're investigating you,
Mhm.
they'll look at everything.
Yeah.
So they're not invading your privacy
Mm.
because you're under more like if your case is in court, they are obligated to look
To
at
search.
everything.
It was kind of, what do you call it, a sting, an operation. So they targeted those groups.
So there was a report. Somebody said, "Oh, this is happening."
And that's the problem with this same. For me, the comment I gave in the end, because there was a lot. Others were complaining, saying, "How's the police putting so much energy in such things when the people behind the gassing have not been caught, the 48 houses have not been answered?" I added that girl who was her face was skinned off. That wasn't answered really. Like, did we get an ending to that? So I was like,
No, but
no, as in for me, my comment was not on any of that.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, these guys have caught people who are breaking the law. The law does say you do not distribute porn, right? Then that is fine. Now, other people who are bashing on fellow citizens who are complaining that, these guys are catching these people. They are not catching people who are killing our mothers and daughters. The guys were talking bad at them, saying, "Hey, they're just doing their law. Why are you bashing them and stuff?" They have the right to complain. They have a right to be curious. You're able to catch, with the help of Zicta, you're able to catch people distributing porn. The minister who did this thing, it went quiet. That's up to the public. You know, in terms of censorship, I picked that one specifically.
okay.
Privacy. How does it fare in? Like, how necessary is censorship if in our country, like you said, for us in our country, porn is not allowed, then you have a movie that is R18, it's showing in the cinemas. How does that fare, really?
Josh. It's a catch-22, man. It's like we know that there's like a false.
Do really explicit films show?
In our
It's
cinemas?
okay.
I doubt it though. But I'm suspecting it would.
Yeah.
Like,
But I don't think so.
Let's think about these hardcore movies, the ones that trended the most. Which one would you pick recently?
What do you say hardcore? What do you mean?
Yeah, the ones that have sex, that have extreme violence, blood, gore.
The Passion of Christ. It aired. There was no sex in it, but like the violence in there. I still haven't seen the Passion of the Christ, by the way, because I was a kid then, and from what I saw, I was like, nah, I can't watch this film. I just can't. I can't stomach it.
But
But I hear it was really, really intense,
No,
and that was
it was intense because you have sentimental value too.
Christ.
Yeah, you get the point.
exactly. But as far as like
So like
censorship,
compared to Quentin Tarantino's movies.
don't you have? Okay, you don't really have a sentimental connection.
Yeah.
with the protagonist. But you have a connection either way.
Yeah,
So it's like
with Christ, bro.
okay, I can't compare a simple protagonist to like Christ. It's like a larger granularity. But okay, you know what? The fact that the fact that it aired
Yeah.
is what that's the central theme of this argument or
that's
discussion.
So
censorship.
I think the in
No, but we're
Zambia.
talking about
No,
nudity,
no,
right?
yeah, like
It's not only
let's-
nudity, guys.
No,
like,
let's
there's
no, as
censorship
in
that
that's
covers
not-
a lot.
no,
Yes!
Remember,
No,
I'm
no,
saying-
it's talking about
Jake,
nudity.
let's get this.
No, but nudity is an African culture as well.
Listen,
Women walk around topless. And,
I gave
Yeah.
I gave
so
I
should
gave
that be censored?
But
I gave the
distribu-
post.
distribution of
I gave the
porn,
post.
right?
I gave the post because the law is strict on pornography.
Yeah.
That is on nudity.
Yeah.
But we have another extent of censorship, which is the gore. So, Passion of Christ, I'm very sure these the ones with sex.
Yeah.
It's very few, if any, show up on our cinemas.
Mm-hmm.
But the gore
Yeah.
should be like if Passion of Christ showed, then definitely it is. Now, the question on censorship.
Yeah.
Was it right to show in the public, free for anybody to come in? Do we have tickets that we restrict viewership? Can a 16-year-old come in and watch Passion of the Christ?
Don't say 16 is pretty old. 10, 9-year-old.
Okay, 9.
But like, these films that have age ratings.
Yeah.
Like if a film is 16 or 16 and above rating, do they allow kids to watch it at cinemas?
Yeah.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think so.
Yeah.
They don't?
I don't think
Okay,
so.
but here's another thing. 16-year-olds, right? You've got a PG-16 movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sex scene.
Mhm.
You're actually seeing the butt in the thing. That's what I'm telling you. These
But
are
that's
the
the
new.
funny thing.
That's the new restriction.
That's the funny thing.
Um,
Yeah. 16-year-old.
We see butts on
Yeah.
Instagram
Think about
and
that.
Trace TV.
Mhm.
Like booty has become an industry.
Yeah, so censorship has
You know,
shifted
so-
its,
so,
its,
yeah,
its
so it's-
ratings.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
changed. There's like a polish that's happened.
So
as far as
It's
Now-
like you
now
might think
coming-
that you're
now-
hiding this,
Yeah.
yeah, but
from
you're
your
not
kid.
really. Yeah,
but
You're
the
not.
kid is probably way advanced.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
here's another thing now. Connecting to that, right?
yeah.
16-year-olds can see booty.
Okay, you know
Right.
what? You know what? Let's leave it at this. Is censorship subjective?
Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
alright.
Definitely, yeah.
We end there because this argument is going to be moot at the end of the day. It will go around in circles.
Right, for me, it just confuses me. Like,
Yes, it is confusing.
it keeps on changing. Like,
Josh. So we've covered your writing. From writing, you went into like screenplay.
Mhm.
Where did the music come in?
Music.
Yes.
Bravo.
You know, we're
Yeah.
back on the road.
Yeah.
We sideswiped for a while there. Yeah. How much time did we cover it anyway?
we're at 140.
Oh, cool. I thought we did like 2 hours. Okay,
No.
cool.
Um,
Music, man.
Music.
Yeah.
Man, I love music. Actually, you see, for me, I wanted to make music. I wanted to rap.
Mm.
I never really got into it because there's so many better rappers
Okay.
out there. So I was like, okay, if I can't rap, I'm gonna make music. So
Yeah.
I started producing.
Yeah.
I think I kind of became good at it.
Yeah. You did, man.
Yeah, and then I wanted to know more because okay, there was this guy who I was like, yo man, could you teach me what you know? I was like, I could give you like some money, you know, if I can learn from you, and why not? So I was like, cool. Then we sat down and he was like kind of breaking down his beat. Then he brought up an EQ, and then he decided to take off the low end and whatnot.
Equalizer.
Yeah,
Yes.
equalizer.
For the non-technical.
So I asked him, why are you doing that? And what he answered, he was like, this is exactly what he answered. You can't hear the way it sounds. I was like, that's not a strong answer. And then I realized, okay, I won't be able to get the kind of knowledge that I want from this guy. So that's what made me start looking for like recording engineering schools and whatnot. And once I started to really understand the way sound works and all
You
this,
found them.
yeah,
Okay.
I did.
Which one?
Audio Institute of America.
In Zambia.
Not in Zambia, bro.
No. Yeah, so that's what I was like. Oh, you found them in Zambia. You know? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, it was distance learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that I get.
Yeah.
That I get. That works.
I was doing it. I did it the same time. I was at DMI doing software.
Bachelor's degree.
Oh,
Yeah, software.
I thought it would be something like law. Artists.
Yeah. Yeah. So the deeper, like the more I really started to really understand sound and music, and the science behind it, that's when I really grew, and I really, I used to be like the kind of person who would be like, that's whack music. Just because I don't like it, I would say it's whack.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
only the music I listen to is great.
That was my
music.
first impression of him. Like the first time we met, because we argued from like 4 p.m. to like 7 or 8, right?
Yeah.
About music.
Music.
Yeah.
So I was like, when I came to understand the way like sound works and the way our ears work, the way human ears work, because our ear can now, okay, everything vibrates. I'm sure you know
Yeah.
that, right? So everything has a resonant frequency, meaning every object has a frequency that it likes to vibrate at.
Even love.
Even love, even love.
Is that like woo? Some degree. Where it's like, oh, everything vibrates. We're just not resonating on the same frequency.
Come on, T man. Just express it. You've got the feeling.
Oh, okay.
Carry on.
That's what you did there.
Carry on.
And so, the way our ears work, okay, so you have your pinna, which is responsible for
Which one's that?
the
The-
earlobe,
yeah.
the whole lobe, yeah. So you have that, which is responsible for directing sound into your ears. That's why if you do this, you're able to hear more because you're directing more
Oh
sound.
no. There's a car crashing. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So this just directs sound into your ears.
Yeah.
And then you have your ear canal, which gets all the vibrations and translates it to there's like two bones.
The drum?
What are they called?
Oh.
No, before the eardrum. The
That
Remember that structure.
oscillate.
Ossicles.
What?
yeah, ossicles.
Ossicles. He studied medicine.
I know the other.
Okay.
I know the other side of the drum.
Ossicles, yeah. It's
Remember your
ossicles?
biology,
Yeah, so,
yeah.
exactly.
But they're on the other side of the drum.
Anyway, are they?
It's the drum first.
Oh no, you are right. Are you right?
Because
The canal to the drums,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
At the drum. I said drums.
the
Bass.
drum vibrates,
Drum,
the os whatever. No.
Okay, I think so.
Mess
I'm
with
not
that.
sure.
Ossicles.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Same
Okay,
as the
but my
sequence.
point is has a resonant frequency of about 3 to 4 kilohertz, just 3,000 to 4,000 hertz.
Yeah.
And it has this resonant frequency because it's built, it's engineered to hear people speak because our voice is all range. That's where our
That's the
resonant-
range?
Yeah, that's the range. Yeah,
Yeah.
3 to 4K. You know, that's why like if you're mixing and you boost 3 to 4K,
Yeah.
you'll really hear the vocal.
Yeah.
Anyway,
How do we get that? Oh, like that's the top frequency.
no. I'm just that's the that's like the
com-
fundamental.
The comfortable.
Oh, it's
fundamental
the-
frequency.
okay.
Yeah, that's the right word.
Yeah.
Because I had questions about the lower ends, like
No,
the
you-
bass.
You can hear that too, yeah. But I'm just saying, anyway.
The fundamental.
Yeah, the fundamental
Yeah.
frequency. Anyway, so
Yeah.
because everybody's ear canal is different. It's a different size, different shape, different.
Mine is big.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because of that, no human being actually hears the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, we don't hear the way I'm hearing my voice is not the way you hear my voice. Obviously, it's going to sound the same,
Yeah.
the tone, but the actual frequency. So okay, what my point is, when it comes down to it, human beings don't really hear the same things.
Yeah.
So with that thought, coupled obviously that other influences like your background and your emotions and all that stuff, but all of that with what you hear plays a strong part in why you like this particular music and why you like that. So when I came to understanding all of that, I kind of stopped judging what people like, just because this guy likes this Lil Uzi Vert.
Yeah.
Lil Uzi Vert, I'm like, and before I was like, that's whack, bro.
Yeah.
Why would you listen to that?
Yeah.
But
That's cold.
but understanding that for me, it just gave me like I just accepted. Okay, there's something that person likes, and it's really pushed me to a point of where if I find music I don't like and I find somebody who likes that music, I try to really understand why they like it, and I'm like, what exactly do you hear? And it offers something. I like that. So that's one thing I gained really from doing sound.
Since you're a sound engineer, when I'm speaking,
Yeah.
my ears tell me I sound normal. When I am recorded, or when I go like, bruh, how do you think my voice is? Is it high pitched or low pitched? And they'll be like, it's kind of high. And I'm like,
It's a hypertone.
okay, so I trust you. And when I play my voice on a recording,
Doesn't sound
it
different.
sounds high pitched as well, but I'm hearing a man. But in anywhere else, it's a girl, a kid.
Is it?
I don't know.
Oh.
It's weird. Like I hear one thing.
I know that coach me.
Yeah. How does that work?
You see, a microphone, all right? It's built to work like your ear, but it's not like your ear, because your ear is like quite, what's the word I'm looking for? Quite smart.
Yeah, sophisticated.
For example, if I'm talking to you, right?
Yeah.
And these two are chatting away.
Oh,
I can get to a level of really blocking them out and really just concentrating on what you're saying. Microphone can't do that. It will just hear everything.
Yeah.
So you can actually kind of, because your ear and your brain, they work together. So you can tune what you don't want to hear out.
Oh, by the
and
way,
whatever.
the LG V60 has got vocal. Is it audio bokeh?
Okay.
Yeah, so it does that.
Oh.
It's weird stuff. Anyways, yeah.
Tech just keeps getting better.
Anyway, yeah. So okay.
Yeah. So, and also when you're speaking, you're getting like your vocal cues from the floor and the table, and so you get like a rough thing of what you think your voice sounds like. That's why when you find this recorded, because what this is picking up,
So it's like
it's picking up. No, it's quite true. But it's picking up your voice. It's picking up your voice.
Yeah.
Your direct.
yeah.
Your direct. What's the voice?
Yeah.
In combination.
Amplitudes.
In combination with reflections. So it's getting all the reflections from the seat and reflections from the table, from the
So
floor.
it's the
Bouncing
sound.
off.
Yeah, that's why you find in a studio, the first thing you're trying to kill is early reflection.
Yeah.
Because all you want is like the direct vocal.
Mhm.
That's what you're aiming for. That's why you find people put in egg trays, even though that's useless.
Because you know
Is it?
when
Very.
Really?
Yeah.
Explain that.
Now we're getting into acoustics. Okay.
Let's do it.
So,
Right. It's a sound engineering segment, boys and girls.
I like what he's telling
so,
me.
so okay.
Yeah.
If you're gonna use like acoustics and you're trying to kill, okay, in a studio, let's say it's a recording studio, the only thing that you want to get is the direct sound. You don't want reflections. You want to kill as many reflections as possible. So that's why you find people create an RFZ, which is like a reflection-free zone. So the first reflection is like, for example, this is a card. Is this a cardian or it's omnidirectional? I don't know.
It's Omni. I think
Omnidirectional.
it's Omni.
I hope it is. Anyway. For our sake.
Yeah.
You'll be the first critic after when this is published. Maybe prior to it being published.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the raw.
So,
Yeah.
what am I talking about? Yeah, in the studio,
Yeah.
so you're trying to kill off early reflection. Now, I've seen lots of people get carpets, mattresses,
I actually wanted to say carpet.
Mat-
first.
Yeah.
mattress.
carpet, mattresses, egg cartons.
I've been thinking about the egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff doesn't work.
Really?
It might kind of help.
Not even to some degree.
A little bit, just a little bit. But what your egg cartons will be doing more is actually more diffusion than okay. Acoustics.
Just increasing bounces, not really killing them.
Okay, acoustics. We'll divide them into two sections, which is isolation and absorption. Right?
Yeah.
So isolation is soundproofing. What people get really mixed up. I've seen people like put the acoustic foam on the walls and go, no, I soundproof my
It's
room.
done.
But that's not soundproofing. Soundproofing means it's soundproof, man. That means
Yeah.
if I'm playing music in here next room, you're not supposed to hear anything. That is soundproofing, which is isolation. Then you have absorption, which is leading more into recording and getting direct signal, direct sound. So this means like, what now? The question is, what material is best, right?
Mhm.
So usually, okay, let's talk about home studios, right? Yeah, because that's
And not higher class
not
home
high class. Yeah,
studios.
so home studio, you're always going to find yourself in a small room, smallish kind of room,
Like this one.
like this one. The worst kind of space you want to record in is a square room. That-
Uh-oh.
yeah, that is like the worst.
So guys,
This
it's
guy-
our fault.
This isn't the studio, for the record. It's a room.
It
It's
is
square.
It's just a room
relatively square.
where guys are having a fireside chat. That's all it is.
We could be in a bush.
Nothing professional about
Could
this.
be in a forest.
It's a
not
fireside
about that.
chat.
We could be in
Yeah.
a swimming pool.
Square room.
Yeah.
We could be on a plane.
So that's the first. So when you're looking at your room, that's the first thing you have to notice. Okay, is it a square room? All right. If it's square, it's bad. You better get in something rectangle, right? So that you can have your speakers firing down the length of the room.
Yeah.
Then you have to look at noise sources, all right? Because you want silence. So window, for example, is very bad
Mm-hmm.
for studio, and that will be your first noise source.
Yeah.
Because your microphone, which you're going to be using, is like a cardioid. It's like a condenser, which is pretty sensitive and would hear things that are far
Kids
off.
laughing outside.
Yeah, you to pick up all of that stuff.
Kid coughing in the background.
Exactly.
Like Ethos podcast.
So if
Kind of like that one.
But that actually helps with the aesthetics because, guys, we are in a drop-in center. Anyways,
no,
yeah.
it's nice for this one.
It's a
This
fireside chat.
Yeah,
For the
Depends.
Relax.
For the record.
Chill out, man.
No, because this one dude gave me crap on YouTube. That one episode that you recorded at the Kali photo space. Yeah, the sound guys. I'm like, yo, we're not like a high budget, production team or whatever. We just went there with a microphone, a laptop, and a phone. That was it. There was no soundproofing, no nothing. We just wanted to have a conversation with people that were interested in having a conversation with. And that's it.
Yeah.
We could do better, obviously.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I was just,
But we accept
being all
your
defensive.
criticism.
Yes, we do.
We love it. But just know, we just guys chilling.
Yeah.
Just chilling.
We're talking to super smart people
So after this podcast,
and learning from them.
I won't promise we'll change, but we'll do better. Yeah.
Let's carry on this.
So Windows
Yeah.
first source.
Yeah, that's your first. So you gotta get rid of noise sources. So now you can now concentrate on treatment, which is now treating your room. Okay, to avoid without getting into the math of calculating your room mode. Okay, the things. Okay,
Just go ahead, bro.
Okay, the thing is the phenomena of room modes, and this is like the problematic frequencies in your room. What makes your recording sound bad? is the fact that you have these room modes. So you're trying to get rid of those room modes. I think there are apps that you can use to calculate it, but in any given small room, your room modes are always going to be low frequencies. So you're going to have a problem with low frequencies.
Is that what they call floor noise? Like the actual floor?
Oh no, floor noise. What you refer to if you say floor noise? That's like, or the noise floor, which is just basically the SPL reading, which is a sound pressure level reading of of the noise, like the existing noise that's already there in your space. But usually you can just sort of like ignore that. Really.
Especially after
so
treatment.
All right, in any small room, first thing you want to go for is corners. So, okay, the reason why you're going for corners is because
That's where the wizards are.
low. Exactly, man. Exactly. So, okay, low frequencies. Low frequencies are long. Like the actual wavelength of a long, like a 50 hertz tone would run about like 50 feet long. So it's quite long.
How much is that in centimeters? 30 something. You said how many feet?
50.
Whoa, that's in
That's
meters.
long.
Sorry,
Yeah,
that's like so that's like
that's like I think it's like
30 to 40 meters.
or something
Yeah.
like that. Something like that. I'm not sure you can bring out your calculator.
Wow.
Where's my phone?
Yeah.
And then considering
so like
a room like this one.
Yeah. So like low end frequencies are really long, like the actual wavelength. That's why, for example, if you're approaching a party and you're far off, what's the first thing you hear is the bass. Before you can even make out what song
this
it
makes
is.
sense. This makes sense.
Before you can even make out what song it is, you're hearing the low end because they can travel that far.
Yeah.
Now imagine you're getting low end frequencies in a small room. They've got nowhere to go. So they build up where in corners. So the build up in corners. And by corners, I don't necessarily mean like the four corners. I'm talking about that corner. I'm talking the corner between the wall and the ceiling. Yeah. All of those are corners where low end. Like for example, if you got music on your
if
you're playing
it out. So you have to be in a perfect circle.
No, not a circle.
Oh, okay.
Not a circle, but that's why you find like
Oblate?
yeah. That's why
Oblate?
that's why you find like
Okay.
big studios.
I was close.
Big studios don't have parallel walls.
Yeah.
Yeah, like really high and they build it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, we're not gonna be in like a super high end studio. But anyway, so that's why you're not dealing with like corners. And the first thing that you do is use bass trapping. So you can either buy bass traps online, but those are pretty inefficient. Even these I don't want to get into math, bro. But anyway, these the acoustic forms. I'm sure you've seen them online or like on YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Those are the work, but like if you really calculate the absorption coefficient. Okay, let me just say absorption coefficient. Let's just consider 0 is total reflection and 1 is total absorption.
So that's a range, just for those who are concerned.
Yeah, so this is the absorption coefficient,
Yeah.
which is I think the unit for it is sabines. Yeah.
What do you have?
Anyway, without getting into it.
Yeah.
So if you look at carpets, right? If you look at carpets, you find carpets have an absorption coefficient of, you can find 0.8 sabines at 1 kilohertz. So they'll be able to absorb like high-ish frequencies, but low frequencies totally reflect.
Yeah.
So that's why you wouldn't want to really look into carpeting as your first acoustic choice, because carpets will just absorb the high end and you just have lots of muddy low end. That's what makes a bad recording. So if you get bass traps, for example, if you look for mineral wool or what's if you yeah, mineral wool, which would be there's the if you go a good place to get great top class stuff that they use in big studios is like Owens Corning 703.
Where is that?
That's a material. Owens Corning 703 or rock wool.
My ears heard Owen's Corner.
Corning,
Yeah.
Corning.
Yeah.
So a good place to get the stuff is from insulation companies. Companies that
Do
do
we
fire
have that in
insulation.
Zambia?
Yeah.
Like which companies
Fire
would you?
insulation. If you just check on the Google Maps or whatever fire insulation companies in Zambia, it'll show you. There's one that's located in light industrial area. I ordered some from them to build a studio.
Relatively, how much is it per meter? If
They don't do studios. They do like insulation. So they always don't have like a particular charge. But the company that I got like rock wool from, they're pretty nice people, man.
Yeah.
They came and we met up and I told them, asked them how much I needed and whatever, and the price wasn't that hefty.
How much?
We spent like 3,000, and that was like a
Dollars.
kwacha.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When was that?
Last year.
What size of
last
the?
year.
What size of the room?
It was kind of like this size.
So relatively three.
Yeah, relatively.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So if you get Owens Corning 703, but sometimes it's a bit toxic, so you're better off going for rock wool. So with rock wool, it's like just a nice soft thing, man. You can cut it. It's not that soft, but you can cut it with a knife and whatnot.
Yeah.
So you just get it, you cut it up in like in triangles, and you put it in your corners. You just stash them in your corners. Immediately you put them in all four corners. Big difference. You're going to hear it actually. Like
Yeah.
there's a major difference in the way your room sounds.
We're going to test that.
Yeah, you should. You should. I did it.
Yeah.
You should. I did it with the company I'm working for. We got a really nice studio. Sounds really great, man. Yeah.
After what color are they usually like white?
Yeah. They're
And
like,
then
they're
after
like whitish, yellowish.
do you
You,
cover them?
yeah,
later?
cover them with the material.
Oh.
They just get a nice fabric, so it's nice and
Yeah.
presentable.
Not a thick fabric.
A good test is to get your fabric right
Yeah.
and blow through it. If you feel the air at the on your
On-
palm, the other end, then it's good.
Okay.
That means it will allow sound to pass through.
Cause
But if you don't feel anything, no, it's just gonna do more reflection than absorbing.
yeah, that's what I was concerned with. Sounds good. So you guys got a 101. What else would you do
Free
for
lesson.
treatment? Like, is that like key?
Small rooms go for corners. So when you deal with your corners, when you get good acoustic, I really recommend that you go for like if you're really super duper broke and you really want DIY,
We're here.
yeah,
Yeah.
what you could do is get what do I call those things? I wouldn't call it. What do you call those like white? You know when you buy a fridge, you get
Oh
that
yeah,
white
I think it's called foam.
Foam, that's what
It's a foam.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I call it.
Yeah, like the ones that the kids play with.
Yeah,
uh-huh.
Start
Oh,
floating around,
yeah,
blow them.
Yeah.
You've been wrong since '93.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you can get those right, pan them out in your corners, and find a way to drill holes through them, or you can just nail in holes through them. Lots of holes. That's when, in the back, you stuff in cushion, whatever, anything you can find, just stuff it inside in the back. Put in all corners. You're gonna get a huge difference.
That sounds
It's not as efficient as like
Rock wool.
rock wool or Owens Corning 703, but it will get you like 80% there.
We're going to raid the factories.
So you get that. So
That's right.
once you deal with the corners, then now you can look to create an RFC. So you have to establish like your mic position where your microphone is going to be. So you put your mic. I'll especially like if you're in a really simple setup and you have like your monitor speakers and whatnot, I'd encourage your mic. you put your microphone position in the same position as your listening position. So, because also when you're mixing, you don't need reflections. Yeah, it's the same thing, same principle. So, you create an RSZ with your speakers, right? So first of all, you're placing your speakers in an isosceles triangle. Isosceles triangle. So that means it should be equidistant, right? So the two of the cones, the speaker cones, position there.
Yeah.
At like the right.
I can do that when I'm
At the summit.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me space. I can set this up.
Mm-hmm. So when you do that, how do you now figure out your RC? This is the simple tricks you can do is you can have a mirror and you walk along the wall. Yeah, it's like if you don't want to get into the math, this is like the simple.
Definitely what I'm going to use, yes?
Yeah. So you have a mirror, you get a big enough mirror and you walk along the wall. And wherever you see the speaker in that mirror, you have to treat that area. So that means you have to get a panel there. Yeah. So wherever you walk past the wall, if you can see the speaker in the mirror, you treat that part until both sides. And the thing, you have to practice a lot of symmetry when you're building a studio because you don't want reflections different from these reflections. So you have whatever's on your left side, put it on your right. Yeah, then you got an RSD and guaranteed you're gonna know. Oh, so those corners, the two things, and this the point where everyone forgets is the ceiling. Yeah, because
it's made of wood.
The ceiling you have to have. Another DIY is to have your same foam from the fridges and your TV and your whatever. If you can find a panel for it, and then you put like the mosquito net hooks, and then hang it over your listening position. Can have good sound.
Relatively, like what space of an area would it fit?
Right on top of your listening area.
And how big?
The bigger the better.
Dope.
Yeah, the bigger the better. But guaranteed, once you do that, you'll be like 80-90% there. You're gonna get really good sound from you'll be able. And you know one thing about once you've treated your room and your room sounds great, it really doesn't matter what microphone you're using, man. You can get a cheap mic, and because you're not getting direct reflection, early reflections, you'll be getting a nice clean sound. You put it with your music, and I can guarantee you feel like it's already mixed before you even start doing it.
Before the music. Before the music.
Yeah.
My voice will sound the same.
Yeah, your voice will sound the same.
Yes.
Your voice will actually sound flatter because you want something flat. It's like shooting. You're shooting
in
log.
raw.
Yeah, shooting raw so that you can add color.
Yeah.
So that you're able to add color to it. So that's the same reason why you're also recording flat, so that you can tweak it.
Yeah.
It's like as raw and pure as it can be. It's not already messed with.
Kennedy records his guitar like that.
Like
He's always saying that. Oh, dude, I want the natural sound from the guitar, man.
Yeah, it's better.
So that I can add effects to it.
Yeah, it's better. Yeah,
And for me, I'm like, no, I want to run it through my
the
pedal, man.
pedal,
Man. Like, no, man. Okay, man, do whatever you want to do, man. It's your project, man. Like,
Wow, this is dope.
But like to get like a nice guitar sound, like
here we go.
if you got if you got an amp, right?
Yeah.
So you have your guitar, you run it through your amp.
Yeah.
Don't just avoid the DI. Avoid just like plugging it right into your PC or your. Run it through the amp and then mic your amp, and then you get a much.
Told you, Kennedy. Told you, man.
A much richer tone. You get a much richer tone.
Yeah, we noticed that.
And then you can use a nice like a pencil mic, which is like a small diaphragm condenser, or you can use a dynamic mic. Those two are really good. But like if it's bass guitar, you're better off using like a large diaphragm. If you're running through an amp, better off using a large diaphragm condenser because it gets a low end better. But on your cone, on your speaker cone, on your amp.
Yeah.
So you have to know what kind of sound you want to get. If you want to get the full sound from your electric guitar, put it right at the center of the cone. If you want like a more rhythmic, staccato kind of sound from your guitar, put it at the edge of your cone.
And just a little bit.
Not pan it.
Okay.
It should actually just not be at the if this is the woofer.
Yeah.
On the thing, it should just be like right at the end of the woofer.
So is it more like a complementary soundscapey kind of incentive as in you doing that, or is it just?
No, you're not really gonna get like soundscapes or anything, yeah. Because I really mean putting the microphone on the grill.
Okay.
Yeah. Like if this is the grill,
Yeah.
look, put it right there.
Okay.
Or maybe just a little bit of space, but really close.
Oh.
Really, really close. Yeah. That's how all the pros do it.
Is that for like a warm, or like a warmer tone or something?
Yeah, if you want something warmer, it's at the center of the cone. Yeah. If you want something more rhythmic, it's like staccato. Yeah.
Oh,
Put it
okay.
at the
Okay.
edge, yeah.
I see. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm acting like I
Thanks.
know.
Sure.
But yeah, but
Yeah.
like I just don't
It's a
like.
science in itself. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I just don't like running it right into your DI or running it right into your interface because it's just getting the pickups, man. Which is alright. It gives you you identify this as a guitar, but the amp just adds that little something. If there's like a buzz or a hum you're worried about, it's probably because you've got a ground loop. So that's probably means now your circuitry is like.
This is starting to feel like a scientific lecture.
It's a science.
Maybe I should stop.
Audio engineering.
Oh dear.
Engineering.
Take this seriously. This
But
is
like if you've got a hum
deep stuff.
and you want to get, it's probably because you got your stuff plugged into many sockets and whatnot. So just plug into one adapter and one power source.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice. How long did this course take? What's the duration?
The duration for it is they give it 1 year, 6 months.
Oh.
And how much is it?
But they give you that time. But as soon as you sign up for it, you can write the exams anytime you're ready. So I managed to finish mine in about 6 months.
Nice.
6 months.
How much is
You
it?
felt ready.
Yeah, I felt ready. I was
Yeah.
like, let's do this.
Nice.
How much is the cost?
It fluctuates. I had been watching that course for like 2 years, like trying to. Sometimes it's like $2,000, $3,000. Sometimes they got a promotion,
Yeah.
or it like really goes super low. So I was just timing. I had the money for some time, and I was like, I'll just wait and watch it. And weekly, I was stalking like a bunch of schools and just like waiting. When the price was low, boom, paid for it, man. Yeah.
Stu's freaking obsessed with that. Like, every time
Determination.
I would visit his room, like you're always watching somebody do it like audio engineering, and then next time I visit, you got like a wall full of like sticky notes and like there's like decibels there and
Yeah.
metrics,
That's what it
and
takes.
amplitudes and whatnot, just notes and whatnot. I was like, whoa. I remember you showing me that one with was it Guru? Wasn't it? What's Jay-Z's?
Yeah, Young Guru.
Young Guru. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like, you just listen to this guy talk, and
It-
right there, it's like 5 minutes in, I was like,
yeah.
I was engaged.
Hey,
I was like,
that guy's
you had to
deep,
kind of
man.
like, dude, like, just go watch it your own time because we won't end. It was like a 1 hour.
Yeah, it's like it was 1 hour,
Yeah.
like 7.
Yeah,
Yeah, that guy's deep, man. Young Guru.
yeah,
Yeah.
awesome stuff.
Yeah.
All right, where do we go from here?
Let's talk about nature itself,
Okay.
because we're actually reaching the end.
Mhm.
So, in terms of nature, because it's a natural thing, the way you've come up to who you are today.
Mm.
Like, do you think any of your skill sets right now are just technical on their own, or do you think all of them are natural within you? So, like the directing, the writing, the music, the sound engineering.
I feel like sound engineering, I had to learn it. I'd
Yeah.
have never known if. But although there are people who are really self-taught, that's why I feel like learning is like it's like a personal decision. Because
there's this guy, this recording engineer that I really love. He's got this channel on YouTube called Produce Like a Pro.
Yeah.
He's a recording engineer. He's not really a recording engineer, but he practices as a recording engineer, and he's the one that has done like the recent Aerosmith albums.
Okay.
He's the one who did the Fray. He recorded and mixed all of the Fray's albums. What his name is Warren Hewitt.
Okay.
And he always says that like almost on every post. He goes like, I never went to school for this ever. This is just self-taught.
Yeah.
It's like he holds conversations with like deep school recording engineers and whatnot.
Yeah.
So like I feel like with your question, with the recording engineering, I did reach a level where I had to be taught, and it's very technical, but it's still an art for me because I relate music making with, because I was just talking about acoustics there.
Yeah.
I didn't even talk about mixing,
Yeah.
which is a whole different
Yeah,
topic. Yeah. But like, excuse me, I relate music making and arrangement and mixing of music to film. For me, it's the same. They just like work off the same principles. It's all about tension, tempo, mood, emotion.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
That's
For me,
where
it's
the
like
nature
this,
comes
yeah.
out.
yeah, it's just the same thing. So, yeah.
So some
It's a
things do
blend.
require like
Yeah.
a technical start.
They really do. They really
Then
do.
eventually, when you've like harnessed that skill set, it now has to depend on your passion and your nature.
You know, speaking of Young Guru says we learn skills to forget them.
Yeah.
So
Deconstruction.
yeah, so we learn how to like, if I know, like for example, you love music and you love music and playing guitar.
Yeah.
You learn music theory and you learn the notes and the scales and all this stuff. At the beginning, it's quite technical and you're learning it, but you learn such you can forget it and just like convey your emotion.
I think Victor
through-
Wooten said the same thing. He was like, it becomes a language in its own.
Exactly.
You're not really thinking about
Exactly.
what you want to say. What am I trying to say? You're just saying it. You're
Yeah,
just talking.
yeah,
It's a natural
exactly.
flow. Like you've got the technical know-how, which is like the tools that are in the trunk of
It's
your
like
car.
it's like
Yeah,
you have the
Hopefully
whole,
you don't
Exactly.
need.
it's like you have the dictionary in your
Yeah.
head now.
Yeah.
You don't need
Yeah.
to go A B C.
I just want to drive my car.
Yeah.
Like I don't really want to use the tools.
Yeah,
Unless
yeah.
need be.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So.
So now
Yeah.
driving to, because you know, for you to reach to a point where you are forced to go into a technical start, like your music, right? This other stuff is a bit easier to reach, like a pen and pencil. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's easy to reach because when you got the pen and paper, you already started writing because you already had it in you to write it and so on. And for you to go further with it, like your first book was 300 or so pages.
He didn't
The
even talk
next
about
one-
bittersweet.
Yeah.
Like he did poetry.
I know he actually
Met
think he
Pompey.
ran away from
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's probably the cheesy, corny
But-
part
but-
of his life. I'm joking.
I'm not sure. I'm actually not. Oh,
Carry on.
dear.
Carry on.
Did I just exceed my laugh meter? Anyways, so my question is like, all of this had to take a lot of your energy. Like it had to drive out of you one way or the other, technically
Yeah.
or with your desire to accomplish those. What kind of energy do you draw that strength from? Like, does it just happen naturally? Or like for us, like we're Christians, for us, we actually come to say, man, that period I was down, I was terribly down, but I still managed to finish like my album and stuff like that, and we are credited to God, for example. For you, what would that source be? Like, how do you draw that energy out?
So first of all, I would agree because I'm Christian too.
Okay.
So yes, obviously, I wouldn't be anywhere, if it wasn't for God and Jesus. But aside, I feel like at the end of the day, it's love, man.
Mm.
You just gotta love what you do, cause it's only love. Cause one thing, the time when I had this like little house room, and like as Tumelo was saying, I had all these, because when that's the way I used to study. That's why I still study. I study and I write what I study. Then I write what I know from my head on paper, and I put it on the wall, and I look at it every day, every whatever. So one of my other friends comes to my place, and he finds me busy studying and doing that stuff, and he's really. I didn't realize it then, but he was really like surprised, and he was like, it's Friday. Some of you, like, you could have been like
in the club,
right now.
Yeah.
You could have been in a club right now, turning it up. You're young,
Yeah.
but you're here doing this, studying.
Yeah.
So it didn't hit me there like oh, that's actually true. I could be just out having a good time. I mean, I like to have a good time. I could have been out having a good time, but I'm here studying. Why am I doing this? And I was like, I'm enjoying it. It's fun. It's
For the love of it.
It's love, man. At the end of the day, it's love, man. Like if you don't, that's why you decide to become an artist in any way, shape, or form, man. It's love. I bet you've played and performed for free so many times.
Yeah.
It's not.
This is for free. We're not. There's no monetization whatsoever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're doing it for no money because money is not the motivation.
Yeah.
It's really not the motivation. And like, for example, even like with my career here in film, I've gotten like, right now I'm being mentored by somebody, and I'm really happy to be under his wing. But I have received, like, not to blow up my own horn, whatever, but I've received like offers, offers with like good money attached to it, man. But at the end of the day, I told myself, like, look, I'm not gonna chase money, all right? Because I don't want to chase money and end up miserable doing what I don't love. I ran away from that. I studied. I had the degree and whatnot, and in like software engineering and but I was quick to recognize that, look, if I really pursue this, I'm not gonna be happy. Because I have friends, even Tumelo, right? The people who talk about programming, and they talk about it like it's wow. But I'm just not there, man.
Yeah.
I'm not there, and I was like, I don't see the joy in it. Obviously, if you're looking at coding and it's really something that excites you, then it's gonna take you somewhere because you're loving it and you're enjoying it.
Because you're actually into it.
And you're into it, and that's how you only get the best work done. Because you love doing it. And I was quick to recognize, like, brah,
it's just not.
I like.
It's not my forte.
it's not.
I like that your motivation is actually central to your being, which is a good thing. But then, what happens on downtimes? You face that hardship, like life slaps at you, or the work itself, it's going one direction, then all of a sudden it sways out. Now, how does it fit into the love?
When you face hurdles in life and all that stuff, you just have to bounce back, man. Like, there's this wallpaper that goes like day in the life of a filmmaker, and it goes like it's got like this scale that goes up and down and up and down, and up here it goes like, oh, I love what I do. Behind it, when it goes down, it goes like, I suck. I'm gonna quit. It goes back up and like, whoa, it actually worked. It goes back down like, what am I doing with my life? So I guess, like, if something is just going smooth and you're not facing obstacles, there's gonna be a problem somewhere, or you're doing something wrong. I was told by one of my other friends, sometimes when I was feeling down, I just wanted to, like, go, F this. I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah.
And they tell me like, tell me any great thing. He told me like, tell me any great thing that hasn't faced opposition. And that just was like, okay, keeps me going. So you just like, and it's like a mental thing, man.
Yeah,
you just
like-
have to.
Because my question
Keep
would be
going.
on it's like when we have a motivating factor, right? A lot of it drives how the conditions we face. Like, this is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? So that's like the easy part.
I like that you said reason. So is it fate or coincidence that you're here today?
Fate? I don't believe in fate.
You don't believe in fate.
No,
So
I don't believe in
coincidence.
fate. I don't believe.
Coincidence?
I
No?
feel like fate is, it's like accepting that I've got no control.
Mm.
I don't believe in fate, man. I really don't.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I would open this argument, but
No,
It's gonna-
it's
it's
fine
gonna go
because
on for
no,
another-
it's
another
a
hour.
quick thing because he
Yeah.
says he's Christian, which is
Yeah.
fine.
Mm-hmm.
This is not even a, like, your Christian is different and what? No, like, this idea of faith or existentialism. It's so much in shoot palm. But you know where like everything is determined. That idea.
Yeah.
Christians tend to have some Christians tend to have a boring perspective on this, in my opinion. Like, God determines everything, right? But then how much of it has he determined for us? Then do we really have free will and stuff like that? So like if you deny that I have all the control, I'm free, that's the stance kind of you're taking. I'm not taking it critical like that's it, right? But relatively that's what you're saying.
Relatively.
But then God says, I know you, I knew you before you were born, I know your name, I know what you become, I know who you become, and so on and so on. So like he knows your whole journey. Then how much control do you really have? And what would you accept that God says, okay, I want great things for you, but then you die and you haven't achieved the things you believed you were you were destined to do? Like, how do you take that position? Because definitely as a Christian, you know God is in control.
Yeah.
But how much control do you have?
You know, I feel it's very difficult. to
Yeah,
ask.
I know.
But I feel like God sets out like with numerous paths for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just like one solid.
It's not one dimension.
Yeah. I think because he sets numerous paths. Like, I'll give an example. There was a time I had the opportunity to leave, like put my college on hold,
Yeah.
and get into ZAF and really like climb up the ranks really fast and finish college and do all that stuff.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to do that, and at that time, I was like faced with this decision: should I do it, or should I just stay in school and finish school? Then, I confided in my pastor, and he told me that he prayed over it, and he came back and told me that God told him that it's an open door.
Yeah.
So I didn't take that route, and I feel like if I took that route, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. I feel I would be totally different, because it would have just set me on a,
You want to be young Uzu, man, with the shades and
Yeah.
I wouldn't be. I would have been like this military.
yeah, you'd be all serious
Yeah.
right now. Like, no nonsense. Pascal's gonna be on the podcast at 10. You probably won't even be on the podcast.
Yeah. Maybe we wouldn't even had the chance to even talk.
Probably,
Yeah.
probably.
But don't you think that's where some like fate comes in?
No, but
like you holding the cards in that regard. Like don't you believe you're destined to be here?
no, here's you mentioned.
I know, man. This is where the
I
hard
know,
questions
I know,
come.
this
in.
is a hard
Yeah,
question.
This is
Yeah.
one of the hard questions.
Here's
I
the
don't
you
know.
mentioned control.
Yeah.
You mentioned, for me, control means like you have the will to.
Yeah.
To decide,
Mhm.
yeah.
Will comes in. Yeah.
So that's where it's coming from.
Mhm.
He doesn't believe in fate.
Oh, okay.
So in a situation where we are Christians, God says He has a plan for us, and a plan not to harm us. He doesn't say, I will control you in this way. So He has numerous plans that
Jonah, go to Nineveh. Just. Then he goes with that other experience. The fish. Even though people say it's metaphorical, but I don't know, like fish. Okay, yeah, like the fish thing happens, and then still ends up going there. So it's like.
So we still have
different route.
We still have that decision to make. As long as your decision is, I'm thinking you're going to considering what's right in your path, or what's God's path in that way. What path is God considering for you?
Yeah.
So for me, I look at it as long as you are going in the right way and you're giving back, you're giving glory, you're giving a testimony to
even acknowledging that He is with you in your journey.
It doesn't matter how you have moved to that. It is what matters is it does it give glory to Him.
Yeah. So like the destination, you touched on Him, like the question, you do have control, but you ended up here. That's fate thing. It for me, the way I see it, that's why I'm like, no, as in actually,
you know what I'm about to say? It's just brought me back now. The fate, it's in itself, isn't one dimensional.
Exactly.
Why do we limit it?
Exactly. That's why I'm like, Christians who bore me are the ones who say, no, as in serious, I'm telling you, seriously, are the ones who say, you're fated to be here and that's it. No, you had a path. Did you acknowledge God in your path? Did you allow Him to be a part of your path, like He was saying? Yeah, and as you are moving in there, He's guiding, right? He's guiding you to where you're going. And if you decide to go astray, the hard things start happening. And the hard things also bring you back to Him, one way or the other.
But it's not, hard things are not necessarily telling you that you are doing the wrong.
Exactly. But if you make the wrong choice, right, it does lead you into the bad things. Yeah. Which still leads you into the path you are meant to be.
Simple concept of cause and effect as well.
Yeah. So why I'm saying the ones who bore me are those types. It's either they say, God has given you free will and that's it. No. He has given you free will, but He knows every path you go through. Every choice you make. And in the end, the one who says, God knows your fate, He does. He has even decided it. Even before you think you're taking that path, He already knows every path you could have taken. And as long as you're in that moment, that flux, that situation right there, God says, I already know the end of this puzzle. I already know the end of this maze. And you're going to be here, determined. So it's more complicated. None of us can have a fixed answer. You know what I mean? It has to flow with you, especially with that knowledge. You can't go through a journey on your own. Like that's why in the end, for me, I was like, what's driving force is there, and there's a therapy that happens when we go through our journeys with our passions, our dreams. Part of what you mentioned was fellowship. Your friend comes, you go to your friend in those times and he tells you something that actually makes sense. That's part of it, you know, and it's love within itself. So I was just like, I want to see your perspective, and clearly it's right for me. Like, yeah. And then someone comes to you and tells you, bruh, you're a Christian, and then you're saying you don't believe in fate, but God knows the end. Yes, He does. But you have to choose right now. You have to choose to become the sound engineer, to become the director, to become the poet you didn't want to tell us about.
Why'd you bring out the poetry?
Sorry, man.
Yeah,
I had to. Yeah.
This is the beauty of it.
In
You know?
a sense that, okay, here's the what really, okay, on the record, like Christians like that shouldn't. If you say bore, they bore me. it's kind of
It's a personal thing.
yeah, it is, but you shouldn't look at it that way
Mm.
because they do not know, you know.
What I believe is every conversation
Mhm.
does not
Should
have
be.
to end. It has to continue. If we have a difference, right?
Yes.
Let us discuss it. And where you feel offended by my position, you should be ready to be offended by mine and I be offended by yours. But the discussion has to continue for truth to actually end up being there. Because what's the allegory of the
Cave? Plato's.
yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know the complete truth until we have talked about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
So, but be open. When you
Of
say
course,
this
as in-
bores me. It's kind of like listening to music. I don't like this kind of music.
you understand.
Listen to this.
But then I don't like some kind of. I don't.
Yeah,
I
that's the
don't
thing.
like. I don't
That's the
like
thing,
rumba.
look.
I don't like
Like
rumba.
Christian
I
music
say,
like
I
this.
I'll
say
never like rumba.
they end the conversation.
Or appreciate
okay?
it for maybe
The ones that end the
musicianship,
conversation,
but I don't like it. Yeah.
the ones that end the conversation on ultimate. No, it's just fate. No, it's just free will. That's what I was talking about.
Oh yeah.
That's boring. I won't take it back.
No, I'm not saying you should. But here's
We have to
Here's the
continue.
question.
Yeah.
In line with you giving as a Christian,
Yeah,
we are advised to give your life to Christ.
exactly.
And if you submit to Christ, so meaning the driving force, your purpose will be determined by the Holy Spirit.
Exactly.
So in that, where does our free will lie?
In actually submitting.
Yeah, do we have free will in that sense?
If we
If
submit,
we submit to Christ,
just the
submit
statement.
everything.
Free
Yeah,
will within
let
those
me give you-
parameters. Yeah, within the parameters, you have that free will.
No, not just
How?
that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Before anything, the statement is if you submit. That if, the very first if,
Oh yeah, that if. Yeah.
is the starting of your
Yeah,
free will.
yeah,
So
'cause you
you
had the
can
choice.
choose.
Yeah.
You can choose to submit or you can choose not to. First step in.
No, post submission.
Then there now you are now now that you have submitted, right? You have a master.
Yes.
Does a slave have free will over the master?
Yeah, that's what yeah.
Now that's the thing. As Christians, we limit our freedoms subjected to Christ, and Christ in Himself is freedom. What type of freedom? The freedom to live a life that is full and true. Why? Because He has lived a perfect life. He has overcome sin, which is our greatest challenge. And He is not telling you, don't go for that career, don't go for this career. You still can choose those things. But when it comes to Him saying, you love your neighbor, that's not something to discuss. When He says, you have to choose me, that's not something to discuss. When He says, you are going to go to hell if you do this, that's not a discussion. But now, I want to go into Zav. I want to continue with my course. Choose. I'll be with you.
Yes. So in line with that, right?
Yeah.
In line with that, say Joshua
Yeah.
says, "Oh, I want to be a film director."
Mm-hmm.
Then God says no. Let's say, for instance, he said he communicated with his pastor, right?
Mm.
And the pastor told him, "I prayed about it, and it's an open door."
This is where now we get into your personal convictions,
Yeah.
and I think you're trying to touch scripture in terms of those who are in authority to guide us.
No.
Okay, so it's
Yourself. I was just giving an example
Mhm.
in regards to Joshua's pastor.
okay.
So what if Joshua prayed about that,
Mhm.
and God says, "This is not an open door,"
Uh-huh.
or "It is an open door"?
Yeah. So now, as a Christian, right? Here's the thing. I like that. You could have gone for Zaf, right? Or continued with sound engineering, right? Is it?
Not sound engineer, software.
Or software engineering. And then you decide to go, and through software engineering, like through that path, you ended up becoming a sound engineer, director, right? But then God says, no, I want you to go into Zaf, right? How would you feel about that? I'll give you my stance.
What I was trying to say is, you do not choose these other things. You get the point. You cannot say, "I have submitted and I can choose to say, oh, let me watch this kind of cinema in a way." then this other thing about loving my neighbor, I choose to do this, to obey.
Mhm.
You get the point. So you cannot be lukewarm. That's what, in short, that's what I'm saying.
Mm.
So
But here's
if God
here's,
is guiding you,
mm.
you need to let Him guide you fully.
yeah.
In
Now
everything
I know
that you do.
this is why I was like, are you trying to talk about leaders according to the Bible? Because the one that was involved in his story was the
No,
pastor.
I'm talking about the ultimate. The
Now
the
here's
leader,
here's
the
another
name
funny
above
thing.
every
Did
other
you
name,
know
bruh.
did you know if God spoke to you today, right? It's a clear revelation.
Yes.
That becomes scripture. Did you know that? Because it's God speaking, right?
Yeah.
So it is scripture now, isn't it? So how do we treat scripture now? That's the real question.
Mm-hmm. No,
Do
no,
you
no.
obey what God says? Do you obey what Christ says? If you
Uh-huh.
do, you have to go for Zaf, because now it is scripture. It's no longer a worldly
No.
thing. Yes.
Okay, well, in that situation, what did the pastor mean when he said it's an open door?
He meant that I can choose to take it or not.
Yeah. So there was freedom there. It
Yes.
wasn't God saying
In a-
do this.
No, I'm referring to a situation where it is not open.
So now it
It
is
is just
scripture.
clear. Oh,
It
right,
is
oh.
clear. It is now scripture. Do you want to obey what God says or not?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, then you are disobeying.
Yes.
Because let me ask you, God instead of saying it's an open door, He says you have to do this. What are you going to do?
I was going to go to Zaf.
Simple.
Yes.
It's not a complicated question.
No.
It's not even a question about free will there. There it's no longer free will.
Mm-hmm.
It is a choice God has made as your father.
Yes.
Period.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Because you made a statement saying you can choose these other things, but you can.
Because they're not
choose.
set in stone. When God speaks, it is now fixed. It is His word. There is no compromise. There was no complication with what I said. It was the perception of what comes before it or after it. In that statement, God has said this and this. That's what the Bible says. Your life says this and this. It is your life. It is the world. And God guides you through the world.
Yeah, it is. It is true.
I don't
It is
know.
true.
Okay,
It is
yeah,
true.
yeah.
It is true in that. Okay, I don't want to sound like I want to get the last word,
Mm-hmm.
but okay, let's end here. Yeah.
No,
You disagree?
no,
Yeah,
go
that's
ahead. Give the last
No,
word.
I'm not disagreeing.
Because we are
with
we
what you
are we are
said.
together here, so I want to hear
I'm not-
your last
I'm-
word.
I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm just disagreeing with maybe the interpretation of it
Which
coming
you-
from me
Oh, okay.
of what you said is what I do not sit well with. You get the point. So, in that you have clarified that we are talking about the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
then cool.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
So, Josh, yeah, dude, it's been awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
been
didn't
insightful.
think we'd get
been
into
great.
this. Yeah.
Today's Youth Day, you could have been anywhere, man. You could have been.
Today's Youth Day.
Yeah, I just saw them marching when I was coming.
What year is it again? Yeah, man. Today's Youth
Oh
Day.
yeah, that's why people were lining up.
I think
PF
it is Youth Day.
Oh.
I think it's
like,
Youth Day.
oh, I'm going to
Oh,
have
yeah.
breakfast.
So out of it, you've been in the lab.
Yeah, oh my god.
constantly, so-
Yeah.
Dude.
Thanks for having me.
So what's
Last words
Last words.
for the Ethonians. That's what we call the peeps out there. Sorry, it's the Ethos podcast. We can't come up with like a catchy.
We'll have a name for you
Has the
guys.
maggots. And,
We'll
that's
have
like,
we'll have a name.
Ethonians, planet Ethon. Okay, for the peeps out there.
yeah.
The people from the void.
Yes.
Mm.
Well, I think my last words would be if you're planning to do something, anything, like pursue art, if you wanna make music or you want to make movies or write, or don't wait for anything. Just do it.
Just
Yeah.
Like Nike signs.
Like Nike, just do it. Like, cause lots of things get pushed forward and go like, oh no, I'm gonna learn how to mix, or I'm gonna learn how to make instrumentals when I get this money, or I get this, or I get that, and you're just like putting obstacles for yourself. Just start,
Yeah.
man. Just start. Like, if you look at, for example, I've been thinking of like opening a YouTube channel, and I've also been like, yo, I'll start it when this happens. I'll start it when this happens. And I had that idea about a year ago, and look at me now. I don't have a YouTube channel, man. Yeah. Yeah. So.
But you've always had that about you, like being a perfectionist in that regard.
Yeah.
Get the music out when it's. So going
Exactly
back,
why.
going back to like your books, your books that haven't been published yet. You should probably just get them out.
Exactly. I should. I really
By the way,
should.
where do you stay? I'm not like going to come secretly and get your books and
I mean-
publish them in my name.
Ibex Meanwood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, and your handles like Facebook, social media.
Yeah, that's Instagram. That's Young Ozu.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook. That's. Oh my God, what's my Facebook?
What's your real name? Is it Joshua. X?
Yeah, Joshua X Kafumukache.
I like how Facebook is becoming irrelevant as the days go
Dying
by.
out.
Yeah.
It's dying out.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's
Get
dope.
that YouTube channel up, man.
Yeah, I need to. Although I told somebody about the idea because I want to be talking about film.
I think
And-
you can do very well with that.
Yeah.
I was told that Joshua, you're going to be a hater.
Yeah. That's what critics are.
You know that guy? What's his name? The needle drop.
Yeah.
Fantano.
Fantano. That's my dude, man. I don't agree with everything he says, but yeah, like yeah.
What does he do?
He gives me album reviews. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
album reviews.
yeah.
Oh, I
Just
think you
music in
played him
general.
for me before.
Bo dude.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
you have. You played
The
him.
internet's busiest nerd.
Music nerd. Yeah. But he gave Deftones Koinoyokan a 4. That's a 6 out of 10. Oh!
It's 6.
Yeah!
That's good.
No, that's not good.
For him, that's good, man.
Okay, yeah. Every time he's got like
That's
the red.
good.
Every time he's got the red flannel. That should have been a 9. No, but then he gave Kanye West's and Kid Cudi's album 10 out of 10.
What?
He gave Kendrick Lamar's Pimp a Butterfly 10 out of 10. So it's like, how does Deftones not? It's a perfect album.
Okay.
Anyway, you know.
Maybe
like,
it's not into the.
Royce's new album, The Allegory. I think he gave it like a 4, if not a 5 or 6.
Oh, Roster 59.
Yeah.
I've never really listened to Roster.
You should listen to his new album.
Like his albums.
I only-
listen to
I only-
his new album.
I only
Yeah.
heard that one with Eminem, the Fast Lane thing. That's
Yeah,
it.
no, not Bad Meets Evil. He's really evolved post that.
Yeah.
Eminem.
Yeah, no, everyone we're not talking
Yeah,
about
that's
Eminem.
That's a
Yeah.
topic.
So
for
that's
this,
so that was Instagram at Young Ozu, Facebook at Joshua X Kafumukache.
Yeah,
And that's it.
that's it.
It's
Brilliant.
simple, to the
Thank you.
point.
It's been great, man.
Director.
Yeah.
Okay.
This has been the Ethos podcast with Daniel Dumelo
Muka.
Moses.
and Young Ozu,
Young Ozu.
Joshua X, like Wakanda. Peace out.
And we're out.